and welcome to the Gaming Cam podcast. As always, I'm your host Jack, and with me as always is Mark.
Hello.
And today is the Thursday, the 22nd of November. We're recording a bit earlier than usual, just due to the way the weeks are going at the moment.
Shit's getting busy, not fun.
And we're going to start with our topic. Now, on the Monday after we recorded our last podcast, one of the greatest men in geekdom died.
Mate, he made geekdom. He was king over geekdom.
Yes, obviously you'll know that we're talking about Stan Lee, possibly I say possibly, definitely the greatest comic book writer ever.
Admittedly, I do feel he has overshadowed a lot of prominent guys, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But he is like the figurehead if you think of comic book content.
Yeah.
So whether or not it's like fair, it's the way it is, so I'm just going to go with it. Plus, it was Stan.
Yeah, I mean, like, you were talking about overshadowing people. Like, one common example is Jack Ditko.
Oh, yeah. Don't forget Kirby as well.
It's Jack Kirby I'm thinking of, and Steve Ditko. Or something. I can't remember.
The main ones always come to mind are Kirby and Bill Finger. They're all big ones.
Yeah.
There you go.
Jack Kirby.
Hall of Fame.
And I can't remember who the other one is off the top of my head. He's in this list. He's in this thing somewhere.
Going away, 3 minutes in from our standard content?
Yep. Anyway, yeah, the main one I was thinking of was Jack Kirby, and I don't know why the hell I got his name wrong. But I know, but I thought it would be I thought we should just kind of look back at some of the things that Stan Lee's done over his career, be that things that have impacted us personally or things that have affected the world of comic books. And, you know, with Marvel now having the MCU, we can also branch into things like movies and TV shows when talking about that, because we have the MCU, the Netflix MCU, we've got all the animated series.
What's left of Netflix MCU.
Yes, what's left of the Netflix MCU. I think this is actually harbouring for the next phase of the MCU, and they're going to be moved up to the MCU. They're going to be moved up to the movies. That's why the shows are getting cancelled. It's wishful thinking, but...
Well, it does make sense, because they have to like kind of bolster up the team if the next Avengers does take away some characters.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I also see some characters from the non-Netflix TV shows, things like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Cloak and Dagger, The Runaways.
Okay, I'll give you 2 free. Fuck The Runaways, man. I refuse to watch that. It looks like cosplay.
Yeah.
No.
Also with...
Oh, you're forgetting Gifted.
Yeah.
The Gifted's good. I'll give it the Gifted.
I'm not really counting the Gifted just now because if it's what I'm thinking it is.
Oh, because it's the weird X-Men thing.
Like, don't get me wrong, right?
Well, it is momentally coming together, to be fair.
With the buyout of Fox by Disney,
yeah,
it's coming, but I'm leaving the X-Men theme stuff out because we had one called Legion on Fox a while back.
Is so good, and
I watched about half of season 1 before Now TV took it off catch up, so I didn't get a chance to finish it. But it looked so good.
It gets insane.
But I do feel with Disney buying them out, it's a matter of time before they bring the X-Men and the Fantastic Four and other Fox properties into the MCU, but I'm leaving them out there now because it's not
in it yet.
Not yet, and I think that's going to be 2022-ish before we start seeing the groundwork being laid for that.
Yeah, I mean logically, because like if reports are true, right? So obviously you got Chris Evans. He's filmed his last movie. There's talks that Downey's near his end as well, and obviously we will still the main figureheads. Obviously, Ford, I think he said he's still up for doing it.
Yeah.
But even then, you need to take into account the whole Guardian situation.
Yeah.
With the Guardians Galaxy, obviously the whole James Gunn issue, and you've got the fact of names. I always forget the names. Fuck, I just use the character names. Drax has said he's not coming back unless
Batista,
unless it's gun script.
Yeah.
But apparently, they're not even gonna use that. You got Bradley Cooper, who's not coming back apparently because he feels he's it's taking too long, and by the time he's ready to do it again, he'll have moved on to other things. Because obviously he's doing, was it Star is Born or some shit with
something
Gaga.
like that.
And I'm fairly sure Chris Pratt's gonna be too fucking busy.
Yeah, that is the thing. But I mean,
so basically what I'm saying is at least there's open spaces.
Yeah. And you've also got like, because we're moving into a different phase of the MCU as well now.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of things are going to be focusing around, like, what originally planned to be focusing around the Runaways.
Nah, that's pretty good series, not gonna lie.
The Immortals.
The Immortals?
Yep. That was the movie that was meant to be out 2020. They got cancelled and turned into a TV show on, I believe, Hulu. Which we can't watch over here because Hulu doesn't let us watch half the stuff over here. Yeah, you can Google it later.
I'm gonna have to. I'm very confused.
It was also going to focus on Guardians, Doctor Strange, and Captain Marvel. So we're gonna have to like see where it goes with that now that there is the slot with the Guardians open. But
just clarify, when you say Inhumans, do you mean Inhumans or Immortals?
Inhumans.
You said Immortals.
Did I? I meant
Fuck
Inhumans.
you.
I meant Inhumans.
I'm sitting here like, the Immortals? The fuck? Not Inhumans, yeah, that got slated. That went badly.
Do forgive me, I've not slept well the last few days.
No, no worries, bro.
And I have been working.
Just as soon as you said that, I'm like, the Immortals? And you're like, giggling like, motherfucker. Like, oh.
No, I've been working since Monday, and normally I get a day off midweek, where I can sit and chill and get stuff ready for the podcast. But I've not had that this week because we've had one staff member leave, one staff member getting ready to go on holiday, one other staff member on holiday. So we're short staffed by 2 people, and one person's just too busy thinking about their own damn holiday.
Happens.
That it's felt like a long week so far, and I've still got like 2 days to go. So
to say again.
So yeah, I'm feeling a wee bit on the tired side. But yeah, because it's meant to be revolving around those groups, there is the gap, and we could because that phase officially starts after Avengers 4.
Yeah, I think so.
It officially starts after Avengers 4, but this kind of last half of Phase 3, from Infinity War up to Avengers 4, is to lay the groundwork for it. We could see them start to rush in the Netflix MCU, or the TV based MCU characters, or Fox characters. We could see that groundwork starting to be laid now that things are kind of not going particularly to plan regarding like James Gunn and stuff with all that going on. It's been so long since we talked about it, I can't actually remember clearly what it was, but there was some. But I remember it caused a lot of issues.
What do you mean, James Gunn?
Yeah.
Well, isn't it like why he got fired? Do you mean, or?
Yeah, it was that long ago we spoke about it that I cannot actually remember the specific details.
The specifics are kind of minute. The issue is, right, a few years ago, fuck, what movie was it? Anyway, we're in time one movie. He was doing, he was sending out some dodgy tweets.
I remember.
It is dark humor. That's the main point. It's not
serious,
it
was something that was seen as transphobic or something, wasn't it? Yeah.
Tons of creepy shit. But at the end of the day, it is dark humor. Right?
Yeah.
But apparently, at the time, he already apologised, and when he was hired on for Guardians, this was a known thing.
Yeah.
Emphasis on this was a known thing. But then Disney, do you know what? We can't have this now, and then fired him when they'd already apologised and they already let him off of it.
Yeah.
So logic-wise, doesn't really track.
But there was also a shake-up in management after the Disney buyout at Disney. Right. After the Marvel buyout by Disney. So it might have been the new people that had this change of heart.
Quite possibly, but still, I mean, it's basically derailed a ton of stuff. Admittedly, there are a good amount of properties swirling around in the Avengers universe right now, right? But when you're getting to a point where you're trying to pull them all together for one big movie, and you lose one,
Yeah.
and it's one that has like 5 characters and all additional things coming from that side of the universe.
Yeah, not just that, but they're already, like, because they were in Infinity War,
Yeah.
you know, they need to be in Avengers 4 because continuity. And the last thing you want to do is, because of contractual reasons, is have to retcon everybody.
I think what may happen is, like I said, they're not up for. Batista's not up for coming back for Guardians 3, but obviously when it comes to an Avengers film, it's a totally different director.
Yeah.
So they'll probably like go, fine, we'll do this, but we'll not do a solo.
Yeah, but at the same time, because was there not meant to be a solo movie out just after Avengers 4 to set up because that was going to be the first movie to set up the next phase with Captain Marvel and Doctor Strange in that same movie. I can't remember the specifics. I remember seeing something about it that was going to be the first movie after Avengers 4. It was Guardians 3, and it was to set up this new phase.
Well, it probably could have been, because from what I heard, the idea was the next phase is going to be more intergalactic. So it's going to be leaving most Earth heroes, so just like exploring more
not just intergalactic, but also like the mystic side.
Because don't get me wrong, Strange is a fucking badass, but when you deep dive into that shit, my god, there's tons.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Doctor Strange.
And it's just really trippy in his movies when you get like a fucking kaleidoscope type shit, and you're like,
yeah,
what the fuck?
I
feel like we're getting a bit off topic, though, gotta say.
Yeah, but you know, we're talking Marvel, so
yeah, I'm sure you'd be happy either way.
Yeah,
fuck.
But yeah, I think back to our original topic is one thing we are definitely going to miss, like since we've been on the topic of movies for lately, is these cameos in the movies.
Oh man, don't get me wrong, some of them I felt were a bit some of them you're just like, oh man, I could not love this anymore.
Yeah, like, because the great thing about it is there was no, like, they were just cameos, but because he was a cameo in every MCU movie and a lot of non-MCU movies as well, because he was in the Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy.
Yep.
And I think he was in the Amazing Spider-Man ones as well.
Pretty sure.
Ang Lee's Hulk, I think he was in as well.
I know he was definitely in Ed Norton's Hulk.
Yeah, well, that's part of the MCU, so.
No, it's not officially. That was meant to be the one before Iron Man, and then they cut it because it's ending fucked with the timeline.
Yeah, but canonically,
yeah, it's part of it, technically.
It's part of the it's part of the, because like if you look at any list of MCU movies, it's in it.
Yeah, but it's not
when you buy the box sets from Marvel, Phase 1, the Hulk movie is in it.
Mm-hmm.
So while it's not canon, it's still part of Phase 1.
Yeah,
it's in this very weird place because it can't be canon because A, it messes with the timeline.
Yeah,
and B, Edward Norton suddenly becomes Mark Ruffalo.
Not even that. I mean, it literally messes around characterization-wise. Like, obviously, it's all about Fury getting all the heroes together.
Yeah.
Whereas at the end of Hulk, it's Tony trying out track down Hulk, and you're like, well, what? So yeah, it's messes up.
I don't. Not really, because if you remember, like, Fury went to Tony as an advisor for the Avengers project. So this would have,
he wouldn't let him in.
Yeah, but this would have been like, because Tony Stark, obviously he's the egotistical, big shot playboy millionaire philanthropist that he is.
Yeah.
He would have wanted to make it look like it's him that's doing it when he's talking to General Ross, rather than making it look like Fury's doing it, because the egotistical side of it.
Nah, I don't think so, man.
That's my logic for saying it's canonly official.
Bear in mind, he never wanted to be like let's recruit. He wasn't wanted to be a part of it.
Yeah.
There's one, like in the first one, he kind of vetoed his own thing. 2, and then he got the whole downturn because of the poisonous core thing. So then he was told he can't go into it, but he can help, basically. he didn't like that, obviously, because it's Tony. So yeah.
But the thing is, it's not canon, but it's still included with all the box sets, which leaves it in this kind of weird space and time, really.
And apparently Ruffalo's been told he's not getting his own one.
He's not getting his own movie, but however, if you take like the main Hulk only,
this one as well.
Hulk only scenes from Thor Ragnarok up to Avengers, I think it's like a couple of movies after Avengers 4, it will create essentially a full movie in itself.
Suppose.
But I mean, I don't get why people are so upset that there's no new Hulk movie coming out. I mean, don't get me wrong, Hulk is my favourite Marvel character, right? But I'm happy not to see another Hulk movie because every time there's been a Hulk movie, it's not been that great. And what they've done with Hawkeye and Black Widow has been fantastic. Like, have these fully formed characters right from the start, and then just over the course of movies, just dive a wee bit deeper into them. And I think that's worked better for Black Widow and Hawkeye, despite the fact I want to see a Black Widow movie, I want to see a Hawkeye movie.
No, I'd rather see the two of them together.
Whether, or even a Black Widow and Hawkeye movie in one thing, but I'm happy with the way that they're doing the character development by doing it instead of a whole movie to themselves, by just doing bits and pieces every couple of movies where you find out more about them. And I think that's really what they needed to do with Hulk for the MCU, because Hulk movies have never been great.
Well,
and that's the thing. Like, I remember, like, they even tried it with a TV show, and it was so bad. It was Hulk and Thor.
Oh God!
This was back in like the 60s, and it was live action.
I remember that.
And it was Lou Ferrigno, and they actually spray painted him green just to be the Hulk. Like, it wasn't the classic Hulk out where, you know, you got bigger and bigger. It was just spray painted green. There we go. Yay!
Very did the giant.
Yeah.
There's no getting around the fact he's a giant of a man.
I like how, like, that was one of the redeeming qualities about the Hulk movie, like the Norton Hulk movie.
Yeah, he brought him.
Was the fact that while it wasn't Lou Ferrigno that done the motion capture for it, when they rendered it in 3D, they still use like Lou Ferrigno's face and all that.
Did they?
Yeah, it was still, and he voiced the Hulk's part.
I did not know that.
Yeah,
I thought he just did the cameo in it.
No, he was also.
That's actually mental. Huh.
There you go. But yeah, no. Again, back to where the original topic was. I'm definitely going to miss the Stan Lee cameos. However, we have found out that Stan Lee's cameos up to Avengers 4 have all been recorded anyway. Yeah. So it's not going to be till like May next year that we stop seeing them, and it might not even be that, because obviously we've had
it's a weird,
Star Wars.
Screw that
with the CGI Princess Leia.
I will not have that. In the very least, or most, if you want to look at it, I'll have is alternate version of his cameos that I've heard people want, which is Deadpool. Yeah. I'll accept Deadpool. I am not having some creepy ass 3D rendering. I don't think that's right at all. It really freaks me out. It's never done well. I know.
But I think if we're going to get more cameos, it's either going to be that, or they're going to take previous cameos.
That's even worse, actually.
And do it on like a TV screen. Like
just instances of him being in TV.
Yeah.
Nah, that'd be sweet, actually. That'd be nice.
Like, not even doing like a kind of anything, like make it look like it's a sitcom kind of thing. Yeah. And then he's a cameo on that show, doing a previous cameo. So like the one where he went to, was it the Avengers building, and chapped the window and went, "Are you Tony Stank?"
Yeah, that wasn't Avengers building, was it?
I can't remember. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I just remember, "Are you Tony Stank?" That's the line I remember. Doing something like that.
For me, I always remember, like, my favorite ones are just the ones where he has a. It's not even like he's just been funny. It's like he has a bigger impact. Yeah. Like, for me, my favorite cameo is one that actually never got like put into the film, which upsets me terribly. In the original Avengers, there's a cameo where he's sitting with Chris Evans, and it's literally like Chris Evans is trying to like reacclimate to New York. It's before the battle start or anything. So it's literally just trying to walking around, just trying to find himself again. He stops at a wee cafe. He gets his notepad out and he draws again, which I loved because obviously he used to sketch quite a lot before he went on ice. And it's in this scene where he meets the blonde waitress who's featured prominently in later cuts of the film, and has always pissed me off because you're like, why we keep getting zoom shots of this woman? We don't get it. Is it just because she's pretty? I don't get it. Is she meant to be a character? And then I find out it's because he thought she was pretty, and then he didn't do anything about it. And then you get Stanley turning around saying, "Kid, you should just go ask her, like, just be brave or whatever." And it's that way you're like, that's the kind of advice you'd love to get.
Yeah.
And this kind of cameo getting cut forever pissed me off. It's like same, like all kind of cameos like that was like when he saved Aunt May in Spider-Man 2, I believe, when Doc Ock's chucking money bags around.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I like those kind of cameos where he's there for a purpose, or like not obviously. Yeah, it's fine to have him when he's funny, but I think he stood more for being a savior than anything else.
Yeah.
Of a guardian.
Well, the thing is with this, like this kind of ties into the theory of his cameos within the MCU particularly, is he's not really meant to be interfering because he's meant to be one of the Watchers. That
did lead me to one theory. I talked about with my little brother. He's heavily against my idea. Right, there is one series of comic book issues called The Death of a Watcher.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they could do it respectfully or not, but would have loved the idea of it's literally someone's taking the Watcher out, and then it's like I'm trying to find out who, but at the same time you can like tie in all the different cameos and you can make it a real thing where he's literally been watching over humanity.
Yeah.
I just don't know how we'd be able to do it cool, but I think he would have loved to have that greater impact on his creation as opposed to just on the world. And again, I was saying it like it's a pure small thing that usually had such a big impact on the world. But you get what I mean?
Yeah. But I mean, he's not just had like an impact on us as comic book readers and movie watchers, but also on the world of comics as it is. Mm-hmm. Like, because you've got this thing called the Comic Code Authority, which is a self-governing kind of code by which comic books are, things you can and can't really do in comic books.
Yeah.
And, it was super strict, and it was kind of it was changed and became a lot less strict. Stan Lee was interviewed in 1998 that this was changed probably about 1970s. Mm-hmm. But in 1998, when the way Stan Lee wrote comics caused it to change, he was quoted in saying, "I could understand them. They were like lawyers, people who were taking things literally and technically. The code mentioned that you mustn't mention drugs, and according to their rules, they were right. So I didn't even get mad at them then. I said, screw it, so I just took the code seal off of those 3 issues. Then we went back to the code again. I never thought about the code when I was writing a story because basically I never wanted to do anything that was, to my mind, too violent or too sexy. I was aware that young people were reading these books, and had there not been a code, I don't think that I would have done the stories any differently." Now, because Stanley took the code logo off 3 issues, this was like the May to July run of The Amazing Spider-Man. And this storyline was really well received, and that's what caused the code to change. And then once the code had changed, we then started getting things like the Iron Man Demon in a Bottle run. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't meant to be a kind of character development kind of run. It was meant to read more like kind of a PSA.
Yeah.
Against drinking. And I thought that was really cool, that how he had such an influence on the way comic books worked, like in the way of what people could and couldn't do, because you couldn't mention, like, because alcohol was considered a drug. Well, it is considered a drug even to this day and age, but it's kind of one of the more socially acceptable ones, in quotation marks there. So the fact that, you know, you could now start incorporating these things, and we've now started to see, you know, drugs being an issue in some comic books as well, even in some kids' cartoons, which are based off of some comics, like Captain Planet.
Oh, right, Christ.
Do you remember that?
Sadly.
Do you remember the...
Christ.
Like, because a lot of the animated series for kids that were kind of pre-teen to mid-teens were generally based off of comic book characters, maybe not as well-known comic book characters, but not all of them were, like, because we did have, like, ones for, like, our age growing up, back in the days of, like, Cartoon Network and Disney Channel actually putting on good shows. You had, like, Ed, Edd and Eddy, and what else did you have? You had
Well, forgot that's your go-to one.
Ren and Stimpy.
Ed and Eddy.
Ren and Stimpy.
Really?
Yeah, I loved Ed, Edd and Eddy as a kid.
Oh,
Dexter's Lab.
quality TV, and you go for that. Don't get me wrong, alright, but that is not my go-to cartoons from my youth.
I
Dare you?
do you know why it's my go-to cartoon from my youth?
Go on then.
Because I related with Ed so much.
Which one?
Ed, not double D. Ed.
Alright.
Monobrow.
Buttered
toast. Yeah.
Oh man.
And that one where he pretended he fell out of a plane. Ow my skin, ow my liver, ow my hair, ow my lasagna. Yes. No, because like I grew up with comic books and science fiction, as did Ed. You know, so I related to that kind of stuff. You know.
You also mourned your lasagna.
Yes. But in a kids' TV show called Captain Planet, you've got a group called the Planeteers.
Really?
And you had, I cannot remember what the bad guy's name in this episode was, right? But like for the first like 2 seasons of this show, it dealt with things like it dealt with dealing with the planet and pollution and things like that. This first episode of season 3 was called Mind Pollution, and it dealt with people being hooked on this. I think it was called Blitz. I think it was called. It was this like vial, and it was like glowy, and yeah, it worked essentially like heroin or cocaine, where it just kind of sapped your energy and you kind of needed it. Actually, do you know the best one to compare it to is crystal meth, because it's instantly addictive from the first use. You know,
not personally, but okay.
I don't know this personally, obviously. But you know, I've played enough GTA and read enough books and seen TV shows to know that it's addictive off the first go, and that was what they were. You know, that's what they were talking about. They were talking about drug use, but they instead of using a real life drug that could be seen as impressionable, they used a fictional one, and they showed the effects of doing drugs with this fictional one. And yeah, I thought it was really cool. And if the comics code hadn't changed in the 70s, you probably wouldn't have got this in like the 90s, and it was more of a PSA than an actual episode. So yeah, that's something that Stan Lee gave us, was like kind of kids shows and stuff, showing more realistic scenarios and showing us things we shouldn't be doing and the outcome of what would happen if we did. Do you know what I mean?
So yeah, don't get me wrong, for our generation, I think it was a great idea, because obviously for us, especially just as the internet started coming on and stuff, you do come across these weird things you shouldn't do. Whereas like this generation, I literally heard about someone who was doing the fire challenge.
I've never heard of this.
Oh, because it's fucking stupid.
Yeah, well,
people setting themselves on fire for likes.
No, that like I've seen some other stupid ones as well. Like that just makes me think of like the mannequin challenge.
I heard of that one.
Right. So the mannequin challenge is you stand up against a wall and cross your arms. You put your arms across your chest, and then you have your friend push on your arms to the point where you can't breathe, and you got to see how long you can stay conscious.
What?
Yep.
What happened to planking?
I remember planking.
At least that was amusing to an extent, and it wasn't life-threatening. Unless
Well,
someone pushed you off the table.
Well, off the table, pfft, your planking was tame, mate.
I didn't plank. This is just what I've seen. How do you plank?
Across the road.
You're a tit.
Although, granted, for safety reasons, I had a friend standing at one side of the road and a friend standing at the other side of the road to stop anyone from coming, and had someone with a camera so it was out of shot just taking a photo of me planking across a 20's plenty sign.
You're such a knob.
Yes.
Yeah, but anyway, for a last generation to have a fucking brain cell, and then the idea of actually showing kids the effects of things without being realistic.
Yeah.
Even then, it goes on to like fucking like cartoons as well, like for cartoons. Like just the idea of showing kids the realities to an extent. For instance, I remember one. Like I used to love the Gargoyles. Don't know if you
I remember the Gargoyles.
And they had this one episode where one of the Gargoyles is like he sees a gun go off and realizes that's powerful, so he ends up grabbing a gun and he ends up shooting someone. So it's like this reality is all fucking playing with guns. And at the time you're like, that's insane. Why'd you grab a gun? And then you hear about folks in America, like a 2-year-old grabbed a pistol and shot their mum in the back, and you're like, the fuck.
Yeah, like. Because I vaguely remember because they killed someone in the episodes, and then
was it death? I'm not too sure.
Yeah, I think there was because the Captain Planet episode I mentioned earlier, the person that took the drugs died at the end of the episode.
Oh Christ! Right. None of the drugs, you die.
Yeah. So it was literally showing you what will happen.
Well, the worst case scenario, yeah. But no, I get you. I mean, in some cases, it's just necessary to educate children just about life without being too specific.
Yeah, and out with Demons in the Bottle, Marvel has run other strips that have looked at drugs and other things that they wouldn't be able to look at with the Comics Code the way it used to be. They've done some more modern, like in the modern days as well. I can't remember any of them off the top of my head, but they did do that. I
mean, it does vary. I mean, I remember one Batman did. It was he got hooked in Venom.
Yep.
So now we're there, and then you get was it Red Arrow from the Green Arrow series? He got hooked on drugs and ended up spending some Green Arrow's millions and shit, and you're like, whoa.
Yeah, and but yeah, like it's really cool that as it changed, they didn't focus on doing just that. They didn't focus on just seeing how far they could push the code. They didn't focus on just doing like drug PSA ones. They did the comics that they used to do before that, and as well, like that's what they still focused on. But just every now and again, they would throw one of these runs out, and it would always end tragically, because it was about showing because you would see some movies and TV shows where they would be doing drugs or drinking alcohol and everything would end up fine. But then they counteracted it with showing you why not to do it, because this is what could
happen.
And probably most likely will go wrong,
Yeah, I mean, it's
9 times out of 10 ending in death.
Well, that's the last time I drank. Fuck.
Yeah, but it was a really, like I keep coming back to say, it's really cool that he managed to change the code by which comic books are written and make it more lenient, that you can expand further into real
what you
life
can and can't write
as
about.
well. Yeah,
I mean, for me personally, it's partly what he did beforehand. Like obviously, we all know the X-Men as an analog for like racial tension in America, right?
yeah,
What I didn't fully know about was he used to do soapbox pieces. It's like I think Stan's soapbox, whatever.
yep. Stan's soapbox.
Yeah, where he just basically advocated for people to be fucking good people. Like, no matter your skin color, human's human. Gonna fucking treat each other nice. Naturally, he was a lot more eloquent and less sweary, but you get the point.
Excelsior.
But yeah, obviously, so that's why you end up doing X-Men. It's literally just an analog for how people can be mistreated if we're perceived as different. Not better or worse, just different. Hence why, like, some mutations are, like, balls to walls awesome.
Yeah.
I try and kill one of the best one to have off the top of my head. Probably Xavier. No, yeah, Xavier, because bear in mind, the legs aren't part of that.
Yeah.
So yeah, Xavier, yeah, pretty awesome if you can control it. Not as balls to walls. Beast only cause you get no anonymity.
Yeah.
It was like, oh yeah, I mean, remember Frank? Which one's Frank? The big blue dude. Oh, the big blue dude. Gotcha. Then of course they call him Beast of all names, so that makes you feel really human, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, for me, that's one of the biggest things he done. Admittedly, not my favourite superhero from him, but they were such an important thing. I mean, I remember even in the TV show, they've got like it's not like KKK as such, but it's like a weird analog, like Humans First type shit. And I always remember it just felt really awkward when they were on because you're always like, "This is a kid show," and it's literally showing you what can happen with fucking racism and shit, and just sitting there going, "Whoa."
Yeah, like I think there was an episode. A run where it kind of switched tracks from being an allegory for racial segregation to being more of an allegory for the Holocaust. I can't remember if there actually was, but I remember
That sounds more like a bit like Genosha.
it could well have been.
Was it Genosha? That was when it was all about Magneto taking them away.
Yeah, because it was the mutant genocide. Yes.
Oh no, you might be thinking of as House of M. Because there's one line in which Scarlet Witch has two kids, thinks she loses them, and birth whatever, she fucking snaps. And then she blanks out like half the mutants overnight. It's like, I can't remember if it's like she zaps the powers or zaps them out. But then it's like literally hardly any of them are left.
Yeah. But, you know, at one point I vaguely remembered it being more of an allegory for the Holocaust.
Yeah, it does get pretty...
Like, just the... Like, and the reason, like, it feels that way is because you gotta remember Stan Lee is Romanian Jewish.
I probably could have guessed the Jewish part. I did not know the Romanian part.
Yeah. His parents were Romanian and they emigrated to the States.
What's his full name again? His real name, obviously, because Stanley's an awesome name, but I know it's not his real name.
Stanley Martin Lieber.
Ah, okay.
And he's of Romanian Jewish heritage.
Oof. Cool.
But, you know, you also got to think about, like, he also won, you know, many awards in his time just to show how good he was at, you know, writing comics and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Things like the Inkpot Awards. He won the Eisner Awards. He's part of the Jack Kirby Hall of Fame.
This is on the 90s as well. He's just done tons since then.
He got a life career award at the Saturn Awards. He got the National Medal of Arts, which is kind of like over here you get like OBEs and MBEs, and then like sometimes in brackets it'll be like MBE for sport or MBE for art or drama or music or literature or whatever. Well, he got one, you know, that's kind of like the American equivalent to that. You know, he got the Scream Award in 2009, which is a Comic-Con icon.
Best thing for me, I love that he got the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Yeah.
Oh man.
He got a star in the Hollywood Walk of Fame. But in 2017, so last year, on Hollywood Boulevard, you can imprint your hands and feet into the cement and put your signature in it outside the TLC Chinese Theatre, and he done that as well.
All right.
That for a lot of big actors and writers and producers and directors, that's like kind of second best to a star in the Walk of Fame.
That's pretty awesome.
And then like 4 days before that, himself and Jack Kirby were named Disney Legends for their creation of so many characters in the Disney's MCU.
That's awesome. It really is.
In Los Angeles and Long Beach, 2nd of October 2009 was Stanley Day.
Yeah, I think we're just gonna start celebrating that from now on.
Yeah, I think we should just do every year, October 2nd.
It seems really stupid to have such an important. Well, admittedly, it's not gonna be important to everyone, so it's not like we're gonna like say it randomly. But no, I mean, at least fucking remembering the guy who brought us so many heroes.
Yeah.
Like you've said already, for you it's Hulk. He's your top guy. Yeah. For me, it's probably Cap.
Yeah, like I could definitely like go through a top 5, and you know they might not all be Stanley originals. You know, they might be from other writers, but they're all like. If I just take my top 5 comic book characters, I can tell you 4 of them are definitely Marvel, and one of them's actually not Marvel. I think it's Dark Horse Comics. So like Hulk.
Yeah.
Doctor Strange, Howard the Duck.
Fucking weirdo.
I was never a fan of like the Howard the Duck movies or the TV show or most of his cameos and other things, but the comics were always really fun, and it was the comics I liked with Howard the Duck rather than anything else. Captain Marvel, specifically Carol Danvers. I'm not. I like the new Captain Marvel Kamala Khan, but I'm not as much of a fan.
Yeah, because it's you can see what's the name. Well, it's very different.
I mean, it's not so much like anything other than their specific superpower. It's too Reed Richards.
Is a bit.
And don't get me wrong, Reed Richards it's a fantastic superpower being able to stretch like that. But I don't know, like for Captain Marvel, I was you
expect a specific power set.
Up until Kamala Khan, every Captain Marvel has had flight and the psionic,
and strength,
psionic ability and strength, right? And the fact that this is the first one who doesn't have psionic abilities, doesn't have super strength, and doesn't have the ability to flight, it just doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
Because before they become Captain Marvel, they are Miss Marvel. In fact, no, Kamala Khan is Miss Marvel now. Right, never mind.
Yeah, because everyone's Captain Marvel.
Yeah, because Carol Danvers was Miss Marvel up until they became Captain Marvel. There was a Captain Marvel before Carol Danvers.
Yeah, Captain Marvel.
No. There was a female one as well. There was Marvel and Captain Marvel.
All right.
And the last one is Spawn, Todd McFarlane's Spawn.
Yeah.
I always liked the movie. I always liked the comic books. There was an animated series. I wasn't a big fan of it, but the movie and the comic books were always really, really good. I really enjoyed them. So
it's going to be a new adaptation soon. Going to be a new adaptation soon.
Hopefully I'll get it.
Yeah, for me it'd be quite great. Like big wire. Sips, duh. Cap, duh. Probably Hellboy, Constantine, and I'll leave last one blank 'cause I'm not 100% sure yet.
What's your next favourite Marvel character?
I want to say Spidey.
Well, there you go. That's your number 5th one.
Or if you said it was DC, it'd probably be
Robin.
Actually, no, Nightwing, technically. Would have been either Nightwing or Hal Jordan.
But no, I mean, I grew up more with Marvel than I did DC. And outside of Marvel, I had Spawn, Hellboy, Constantine, and the Bulletproof Monk comic.
That was a comic?
Yeah, it was a comic before it was a movie.
Huh. Go figure.
So like I talk with people about comic books now and again, and they go, "Oh, you're such a Marvel fanboy." It's like, no, I grew up with Marvel. I didn't grow up with DC Comics.
I grew up with DC.
Which is why, while yes, I essentially am a Marvel fanboy when it comes to comics.
Yeah.
It's because that's what I grew up with, and that's what I prefer because I'm more accustomed to it. I don't. There's nothing wrong with DC Comics. I just don't like them. You know what I mean? That's
Kind of like
just
your
me.
very wrong opinion about, Pokemon over Digimon. It's just so wrong.
No, I grew up with both. I also grew up with Beyblade and Yu-Gi-Oh! The only ones that stood the test of time, Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! And Yu-Gi-Oh! Only if you play the video games, not if you collect the cards, not if you watch the anime, only if you play the Game Boy games.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Doesn't count.
Yes, it does.
No, it doesn't.
Anyway.
It can't be the same thing if it's completely different. The way you play the game now is completely different from the original.
Yu-Gi-Oh!, Pokemon, and Digimon all started out as TCGs. That's how they're the same. And they all became animes, and then they all got games on the Game Boy. Actually, to be fair, Pokemon got the Game Boy game, then the anime, but that's 6 and a half a dozen.
Well, not really, because I explained the whole Ho-Ho appearance in the first episode.
Yeah.
They already started up doing the second gen.
Yeah, true. But still, the four of them all started out. Well, 3 of them started out as TCGs. One started out as a weird
craze
dreidel.
Weird fucking dreidel.
Right, okay, I couldn't think of anything else, okay?
Oh my god. Just imagine some poor Jewish boy going up to the Beyblader. Can I play? Woo!
They'd probably win. A real dreidel is better constructed than one of those plastic Beyblades.
That's how you cheat. You get a heavier metal thing to weight it.
No. A dreidel's made out of clay. Have you never heard the song?
Dreidel,
I've made you out of clay. Yes.
Dreidel, with you I will play.
Yes, that one. I remember Ross on Friends singing that one time.
Yeah, that's probably where I got it from. Don't think I would have got it from everywhere else.
It was like the Christmas episode.
That was shit.
Where he went to get a Santa costume and couldn't get one.
No, Hanukkah.
And he was teaching about Hanukkah, so he dressed up as the Holiday Armadillo.
Holiday Armadillo, that was it. And then it was fucking Santa Claus with Chandler.
Yep.
And then walks the best superhero ever.
The Hulk.
Superman, yeah, mom.
Yeah, it was so funny. That was a good episode. But yeah, I remember Ross singing "Dreidel, Dreidel."
It freaks me out. That's just the guy, his son. That's the guy from The Sweet Life.
Aye?
Yeah, it's Cody and Dylan Sprouse. They're twins.
Yeah.
And
I know.
Yeah, one's in Riverdale now.
What?
Riverdale, the Netflix show.
All right, no, I thought you meant something else there.
What?
You said that. I heard Riverdale,
Yeah.
and I thought there was suddenly on like Channel 3, ITV, a crossover between River City and Emmerdale there.
Oh my god.
I was like, what the hell are you talking about?
You're so fucking lame. How dare you? Riverdale's awesome.
It's okay, it's just Discord.
Good
I can answer it later.
Yes, you shall.
Yes, I shall. But yeah, it's really cool to see all the amazing things that Stan Lee's done within the world of comic books, and like even like being even won like a performance, one of his voice acting performances in one of the Lego Marvel games. I can't remember which one in particular. I think it might have been Lego Marvel Avengers.
Probably.
The National Academy of Game Trade Reviewers gave him an award for performance and comedy supporting.
Yeah, it was probably
so
that
it'll
one.
be one of the Stanley and Peril things.
Oh man.
Or like when you get the True Believer bar, he goes True Believer. And when you save him, it goes Excelsior. It's
Must
great.
have been amazing knowing you had such a profound and a widespread effect on people.
Yeah.
I mean, he literally made comic books mean something.
Yeah.
As opposed to just, looking at people reading the book. Kind of like shit. Ugh.
I mean, like, don't get me wrong, he wasn't always like the head of Marvel Comics. You know?
No, he did. He worked his way up.
Before that, he was like an intern at what was called Bullpen Comics.
Yeah, I know he jumped his way around there.
And then he went to, I think they were called Atlas. I think the company was called Atlas Comics.
Mm-hmm.
And as he rose up, it started to fold, but he then bought it out and then renamed it Marvel Comics.
I think it's something else before Marvel.
Could well be.
I think Marvel might have been the one of the, like, obviously it's the final one, but I'm sure it was a good few different iterations it became.
So he became an assistant at Timely Comics.
Yeah, it was Timely first. 'Cause have you noticed
which is where he started making the Captain America ones.
Yeah, because if you notice in some of the Netflix Marvel shows,
yeah,
you'll see nods. I think one of the places is like Timely Coffee or something.
Then Timely Comics became known as Atlas Comics. I think seems to be. And then it became Marvel Comics.
Mm-hmm.
But there was also... Oh, no, there we go. Bullpen Bulletins. That was what it was. It was a credit panel with a splash page of each story and regular news about staff members and upcoming storylines. It was a kind of in-house thing, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Like you would... these would be on the back of comics.
Yeah.
And tell you about the writer and, like next week on
blah, blah, blah.
Whatever comic book you're reading.
Mm-hmm.
But you would have much, much bigger ones that would go around the office.
Yeah.
And it would just tell you who's working on what kind of thing and where it's going, so that people who are, like say, I'm working on issue 763 of something, and you're working 764, you can see where I'm going with it. Yeah. So then you can start working on your one kind of thing. I think they done bigger ones inside, but they were called Bullpen Bulletins. Yeah. It's amazing just how much of a impact he had on the world of comic books, and he is going to be sadly missed within the world, because like the people who have met him
mm-hmm.
have said he's genuinely one of the nicest people on the planet. People who've gone up to get like signatures from him at comic book conventions or asked him questions at things like Comic-Con and stuff. That's the one thing I keep hearing, is he's like the nicest person on the planet.
I don't know, it's just one of those things where, admittedly, I had probably a very stupid and driven idea of when they eventually meet them. Well, I just want to say towards them, thank you. That'd be it.
Yes.
Oh man.
There was a comic book writer who met him, and she'd previously worked for Marvel,
mm-hmm.
and she'd since left. And now she'd been on a panel with Stan Lee once before,
mm-hmm.
and it had been like 10, 12 years before this. And he introduced himself, like, because obviously they'd spent like he'd never met her working at Marvel,
mm-hmm.
but he met her this one time, working like on a panel. And he went to her, "What do you do?" "Oh, I'm just a comic book writer." Never say you're just a comic book writer.
Mm-hmm.
Never say you're just anything. Be proud in what you do. You're a comic book writer. You're not just a comic book writer. Like we're podcast hosts, not just podcast hosts.
Yeah, I do get. I mean, pride can change everything if you let it.
Yeah. It was always inspirational to the people that he met, and he was always super nice to like the fans and the people that he worked with. It was always really cool. But I suppose we should probably start moving towards the news.
Yeah,
before we
get sad.
We get
basically
lost in the land of reminiscing. So
Oh Jesus! After talking to X-Men, we're starting with this.
yeah, yes. So we're going to start off with some Nintendo news. And the first thing is Nintendo are going to remove racist Super Smash Bros. I don't know why I inverted commas that.
I don't know how to say inverted commas.
Nintendo are removing a racist Super Smash Bros. Game & Watch imagery. Now, here's the thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
We never saw it over here. It wasn't in the Western trailer. It was only in the Japanese version of the trailer for Smash Bros. Well, I say the trailer live stream.
Ah, got you.
And it was part of the final Nintendo Direct for Smash that we watched before the last podcast.
Right, yeah.
Well, we watched the American, British, European, the English version.
Yeah, okay.
Rather than the Japanese version.
Probably because we wouldn't understand the Japanese one.
Yeah. But it shows a silhouette of the Game & Watch handheld game Fire Attack from 1982, which is where players are a cowboy warding off Native Americans that set fire to his fort. So it's like the Native American headdress and it's like a torch. And now this was removed in the Game & Watch gallery on Nintendo's Game Boy Advance.
Yep.
But it was still seen in like Smash Bros for Wii U, Smash on the Wii. So it was still in the console games, but not in the handheld version, which is weird.
Mm-hmm.
But the move still stays there, so he still has the torch. They're just removing the headdress because it can, like, portraying the Native American style can be seen as racist and offensive if people see it as being derogatory.
Oh, okay.
So there was a statement let out. Nintendo is planning to distribute an update for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate that removes the feather from the silhouette of Mr. Game & Watch. The original game on which the depiction of the character is based was released more than 3 decades ago and does not represent our company values today. We sincerely apologise that this change was not noticed in our marketing material and are continuing our work to make Super Smash Bros. Ultimate an experience that is both welcoming and fun for everybody.
I kind of get it, I kind of don't. Like, it's not like anyone's trying or was trying to be offensive. I mean, it's literally an old character.
Yeah.
So what we're doing is really staying true to the original character.
Yeah, but
obviously, yeah, it can offend people. I'm not gonna lie.
Because we're in the day and age of everybody's just offended by everything. There are people who are going to be offended by the fact that they're changing the character. But you're more likely to offend more people by not changing it. So, from a business standpoint, they are doing the right thing. That's the thing.
I think it'd only be logical if people bought it and got offended after they bought it, and then it'd be an issue. But it's people seeing it all online and being like, "We're not going to buy it ever," but now we're not going to buy it because you said this or did this or we see this. And
well, here's the thing: the game's going to be released with the imagery still in the game. It's a post release patch that's going to sort it. So it's not even so basically if you put the game on, as long as you're not playing online, you'll still have, and don't ever patch the game, you'll still have that imagery there. So people who were offended by the fact that it has it are now happy that it's not going to have it, are going to then be again offended because it's still in the game.
But then it's because they're dumbasses and haven't patched it yet.
But not because they're dumbasses and haven't. Well, are we talking about Nintendo or the player?
The player.
Well, maybe because the patch might not be out day one.
Well, logically, the only way for us to work is definitely recode the game's bond. Obviously, like any company, when they're looking at their bottom dollar, an idea of having to put back everyone who's pre-ordered it for a set day and say, "Look, we're sorry, we're gonna have to refund you. You've taken your money already." Blah blah blah. It just costs too much.
Yeah.
And having and I doubt they're going to put out a patch for one small specific thing.
No, they're going to bundle it with
tons of other random shit.
Yeah, other patches. But I mean, a lot of a lot of games these days do come out with day one patches. Like 9 times out of 10, it's going to be Ubisoft with their incomplete game, or Call of Duty with their day one patch. Because Call of Duty have this thing where they seem to release things on day 0, which is the day before release day if you pre-order it. And then they have to put a multiplayer patch on to fix the servers.
Fuck's sake.
And like Ubisoft, you've seen the Assassin's Creed games. They're just so buggy at launch.
Yeah, I've heard some horror stories, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, faces with just eyes and mouths, and it's not even like lips, it's just the teeth. And the tongue, it's so weird.
Then you get Andromeda.
Yeah.
Good lord. Yeah, just no.
But yeah, so you get a lot of games with day one patches. I mean, like, the most recent example is Spyro, where the day one patch included Spyro 2 and Spyro 3. Because remember, only the first game was on the disc.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, you have that. So it will most likely be a day one patch. But the thing is, Nintendo are known for not patching things unless they desperately need patched.
So it could just hold off for a while.
So if they've noticed things that need patching, they will hold off patching it until everything else is ready to patch it.
Okay.
Everything else for the patch is ready.
So instead of like minor patches, they'll wait for one big patch?
Usually. It depends on what the minor patch is. This might be a minor patch that they will just throw out day one. The minute you put it in your console, it'll update. It could well be, but it might not be, because Nintendo aren't the type to just throw out minor patches left, right and centre. They like to just do a couple of big patches every couple of months for all the minor fixes and stuff like that. So we'll see, but I don't know. We were speaking recently about a site called Love ROMs and Love Retro, who were being shut down by Nintendo, the ROM sites. Well, it turns out they've reached an out-of-court settlement of $12.2 million.
Was that all? Jesus.
Yeah. So it's kind of a weird thing, because Nintendo might not actually take this money off of them. I mean, they probably will, but if they don't, it's probably because they're just trying to send a message saying this is what we will do. But there is also an injunction on top of this, the Mattiases, who are the defendants of this case, are not allowed to have a new website which hosts ROMs. That's not quite what it says. It says Nintendo ROMs, but at the same time, chances are, if you're not going to have Nintendo ROMs, you're not going to have ROMs. Because when people go to things like EMU Paradise or Love Retro, Love ROMs, you're going for Pokemon, Mario, Yu-Gi-Oh, Digimon, your Game Boy Advance and your Game Boy Color games that you can play on VBA. So, because you've also got EPSXE, which can play Final Fantasy 7, 8, the Yu-Gi-Oh and Digimon games on that, and Ape Escape and Gran Turismo and all that, all your PS1 games. So there is one there for doing the PS1 games, but it's not as popular as the Game Boy one. The reason for this is because a lot of the PlayStation games are available on things like PlayStation Now, and you can stream that with a capture card, or they're available on Steam.
Yeah.
Whereas, and even at that, you can just buy an old version and put it onto, a PS3 or a PS4 with the disc, because while the PS3 and PS4 aren't technically backwards compatible, they will play PS1 games for some reason. Despite being not backwards compatible, they'll still play PS1 games. And you can run them through, a capture card.
Okay, right.
So that's fine, but you can't do that with the old Game Boy games. Mostly because if you still own a Game Boy, like I do,
I'm pretty sure mine's kicking out somewhere. It's color, not original.
Yeah, I've got a Game Boy Color and a Game Boy Pocket.
Pocket?
Pocket. It was like in between the Game Boy Color and the
Mhm.
original Game Boy. It was about the size of a Game Boy Color, but it had the Game Boy screen.
Oh, okay.
So it was still the kind of green and black.
Yeah.
It was like kind of the kind of off green LCD, and because it wasn't pixels, it was ink based.
Yeah.
And the layers of the screen were held together with glue. The glue will come apart and the screen will bleed, and
Horrifying.
so you can't. It does detract from the quality.
A little bit.
And it will cause ghosting and stuff like that, and so you can't really stream from those because there's not really a connector to put them into for that and stuff like that. Like you could do it with like a Game Boy Advance. You can connect that up to a TV through like the N64. No, GameCube.
All right.
You could connect up to the TV through the GameCube, so that was possible anyway. So you could do it that way. So, but a lot of people just download the ROMs and stream it for using like an emulator because it's a lot easier.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like that. And if you're going to enjoy not ROMs, but old classic Game Boy games, you generally do it through ROMs, whether you have like a emulator on your phone or on your PC or a tablet.
Yeah.
That's generally how most people do it these days because it is more convenient. And with like, unless you get a customized one, the screens aren't backlit, so you can't really play at night without having the lights on. And then when you're
downside, yeah.
And then when you're playing with the light on, you have to have the screen in a certain position to stop getting the glare off of it. So a lot of people will download the ROMs and play it on that. Like I've always been like kind of weird about ROMs, like because in the legal sense, you can legally own a ROM if you own the game.
Yeah.
So like I've got Pokemon Fire Red for the GBA. I've got a ROM of that on my PlayStation, not my PlayStation, on my PC. But I don't have like Leaf Green because I don't own Leaf Green, despite the fact it's the same game just with different Pokemon. It's the same engine, it's the same codes. It's just different Pokemon in the game. Different Pokemon are available at certain places. So it's really, really weird because if you don't own the game, it's illegal to own the ROM, but if you own the game, it's legal to own the ROM, but at the same time, it's technically illegal to download the ROM because of DMCA. It's so weird and complicated, and I don't like it.
I didn't like it one bit.
Just because it's like, it's illegal to download, but totally legal to own, as long as you already own the game. But if it's legal to own, why is it not legal to download? Or if it's illegal to download, why is it not just illegal to own them all? Anyway, it pisses me off.
And breathe.
Yep. So moving on to some Final Fantasy news. This is probably the biggest chunk of news, I think, because of how much we've got to talk about. First of all, Final Fantasy 15 character DLCs have been cancelled. And Hajime Tabata has quit Luminous Studios. Now, 3 of the next 4 announced add-ons for FF15 have been cancelled. The add-ons are, like, one of the add-ons is still coming out. That's the one that they're currently working on anyway.
Oh, thank God. So
that is episode Arden.
Okay.
And after that, we were meant to get episode Aranea, episode Lunafreya, and episode Noctis.
Okay.
So episode Arden will be released in March 2019, but the other 3 have been scrapped. And they would have obviously offered side stories and an alternate finale to the game.
Okay.
So, obviously you play as the character, the name of the episode. So episode Arden, you're going to be playing as Arden. And it's going to be set before the events of the main game, and they're going to release an anime, Final Fantasy 15 episode Arden prologue. So that's also coming out to.
So does that mean it takes place during or before the movie?
Before?
Because that's a good while before then.
I'm not sure.
Because the movie kind of was a prequel, and then by the time the movie finishes, it's like kind of just after the start of the game.
Yes.
You know, it ends with Nox's dad's death, and then obviously in the game you go back, hearing about it.
Yeah, because you, I can't remember about the main game, but I know in Pocket Edition, you hear about that roughly about chapter 5 of the game in Pocket Edition.
I hardly played any of it, but I did get to a point where you wanted to go back and find out about his dad.
Yeah, that happens in chapter 5 in the Pocket Edition. I cannot remember when that happens in the actual game, but I think the chapters are the same in the Pocket Edition and the actual game. It's just Pocket Edition's a bit more linear because obviously it's a mobile title, which I'm playing on the Switch, and it's so much better on the Switch than on like an iPhone.
I can imagine.
Yeah. But yeah. As for the departure of game director Hajime Tabata, Square Enix announced that he had resigned from the company in October and will start his own company.
Not bad.
Akio Ofuji, global brand director of FF15, explained in the YouTube video that Luminous Productions, the new studio established this year to develop a AAA title for a global audience, will shift its focus from developing the DLC to working on a new game entirely.
Good for him, man. Good on him.
Tabata did not appear during the video, and instead offered a written statement about his resignation from Square Enix. It's almost going to be 2 whole years since the release of FF15. I honestly believe the reason we were able to get this far is because of all you loyal fans. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Today I have a personal announcement to make to all of you. I, Hajime Tabata, will be resigning from Luminous Productions and the Square Enix Group as of October 31st, 2018. I was able to gain much experience in my time at Square Enix. Every title I was able to be a part of means a lot to me. However, FF15 stood out from that group as it was a special project for me, which I went all in. Therefore, I decided to take this opportunity to officially announce my departure from FF15 to all the fans who have supported the title across the globe. In regards to my next endeavours and near future, I have a project that I truly wish to solidify as my next challenge after FF15. For that reason, I have decided to leave my current position and start my own business in order to achieve my goal. As production of episode Arden continues and Luminous Production works on new projects, I felt that it was time for me to hand over the torch to the next generation group of talented and trustworthy colleagues and believe that they will create something amazing. From this day on, I will cheer on and support Square Enix and Luminous Productions together with all you fans. I would like to thank everyone who continues to support FF15 and those who also have supported myself personally. Hajime Tabata was announced as head of Luminous Productions back in March, and he spoke to Polygon at last year's Gamescom, and he told them that he was interested in working on something entirely different for his follow-up to Final Fantasy, and that was a game that launched late March. Late 2016 even. The next project I want to do is a completely new IP. I think it's going to be a very large-scale project based around everything we learned and developed for in Final Fantasy 15. So, it does seem it's going to be like another big open-world RPG, which, if it's going to have the kind of, like, because Hajime Tabata was the kind of driving force behind FF15 in the way of production and planning and all that. So it's going to have that same kind of feel, and I have a feeling that it'll probably be really, really good.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah.
It's something worth keeping an eye on, I think. And continuing on with Final Fantasy news, Final Fantasy 14 is getting a new expansion called Stormbringers, and we're getting a 4th coloured mage. So we've already got black, white, and red.
Wait, did you Stormbringers?
I keep calling it Stormbringer. Shadowbringers.
Damn, son.
Yeah, I know. So Final Fantasy 14's...
Oh, you're just kind of reading it going, that's not what it says.
Final Fantasy 14's fan festival took place last weekend in Las Vegas.
And reasons.
Why not?
Final Fantasy, yes, by all means, Las Vegas.
Final Fantasy Golden Saucer, Las Vegas.
Oi.
makes sense to me. But they took to the stage to announce some big changes to the MMORPG. Producer, director Naoki Yoshida, with the help of translator and English localization lead Koji Fox, announced the new expansion, new job, and the new race to play as. So, Shadowbringers will finally bring Final Fantasy to version 5.0. In this expansion, players will be able to fight the Garlean Empire and dive back into the amazing storyline that was Final Fantasy 14. I gave it up because I couldn't afford it.
Okay.
And when I had the time, but now that I've got the money to be able to do it, I don't have the time to play it. So it's so bad. So there'll be, I think there's 5 new jobs coming for it. One of them's already released into the game pre-expansion, but we don't know what the other ones are. The level caps raised from 70 to 80. And also, obviously, there's new areas to explore, new beast tribes, new dungeons, and all that. Thancred is coming back with a gunblade. Woohoo, gunblade! Which means hopefully one of the new jobs will have a gunblade.
Definite. Very definite.
There's a new game plus mode being added, which allows you to go back to A Realm Reborn and play through that with your character at their current strength, which means enemies will be powered up and all that as well, which will be fun. You've got the Blue Mage job coming, which is a limited job, as in it's intended for solo play.
Okay.
Now, if they can, with them bringing out New Game Plus, I think it would make the Blue Mage the way to go for that, since it's intended for solo play. If you're not specifically doing New Game Plus with other folk, then I think you would be doing it with the Blue Mage.
Right, just clarify. Is the Blue Mage one where you have to eat monsters to learn skills?
Kind of yes, kind of no.
Because I remember that
Blue
was that
Mag-
weird cook thing from Final Fantasy
Quena.
9, I think.
Quena.
Yeah, you literally, as a fork,
Yes.
as a weapon, and it's like he sucks them in,
Yes.
Kirby style.
Yes. But you also had Quistis from FF8, who, if they found an item on a monster and used it, so like if you found the spider web, you would learn Matra Magic. No, you wouldn't. You would learn something. But as you find loot from monsters, some of them will learn Quistis to learn Blue Magic.
Okay.
FF7, you had the E-skill Materia, where if you were hit by a move that you could learn,
That does make. I always loved the idea.
that one was Matra Magic.
Okay.
It was all the rockets.
Oh, okay.
Although you didn't learn that off anyone, that was the one that automatically came with the Materia, if I remember correctly. But yeah, it's basically learning. Blue Magic is basically learning skills of enemies. Kimari's Lancet would do it as well in FF10.
Oh, yeah, okay, got you.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So yeah, you don't have to be hit by the attack. You don't have to eat the monster.
Oh, to both.
You just have to see it in action in battle.
That's more interesting, actually. That's more like, what do you call it when you see something do it?
Mimic.
Yeah, I'll probably go for Mimic.
So it will release patch 4.5 with a level cap of 50.
Okay.
And then it will go up to 60 when Shadowbringers comes out. The new race is coming. They've not announced what the new race is officially, but it's probably going to be the Viera, which is the rabbit people from Final Fantasy Tactics Advance.
Is that the same one? It was in 11, I want to say? Not 11, it was 12.
12. The Pinello, what was it? It was
basically human sized, but
or
rabbits.
Fran. Yeah, with
Yeah.
so
if you add in the ears like fucking 8 feet tall type shit.
Yes. They haven't announced it officially, but the way like the Viera was considered to be the expansion added in Heavensward, but wasn't.
Aren't there already like animal types in the game?
You've got the Mikots, which is what I play as, which is cat people.
Oh right, okay.
And the Aura, which is like horned dragons.
Damn. Now you
Your
want rabbits.
other races are higher, which are humans, Rodergan, which are giants, Lalakin or Lalafell, which are midgets, hobbits.
Fuck, you know.
And
When you say giants, you don't mean giants, do you?
well, they're about 8 foot
Oofed. Why isn't everyone choosing them?
and fairly big.
Yeah, why not just pick them? They sound the best ones.
Because they don't have any statistical advantages.
I hate that logic.
I
I am like 8 foot, built like a brick. Yeah, well, I'm a little mouse and I've got the same stats as you.
your stats are based off of your class and level and equipment and materia.
God damn it.
So yeah, but they were hinting that it's going to be the Vieira race that is going to be the new race for FF 14 5.0.
Cool.
And players can now move between the worlds in the same data center. So every world is in a server.
Okay.
And there's about 10, between 5 and 10 worlds to a server. Now you can move between each of them. However, say you, like I'm on Phoenix, right?
Okay.
And I've got a friend who's in the same data center, but he's in a different world. And he's in Odin, I think. I can move to Odin and play there with him. But I can't use my retainers to store my equipment or get equipment or sell them on the markets. I can't buy things from the markets. I can't go to my house. I can't buy houses, things like that. I can only do that on my world.
Sounds like a really shitty refugee status.
No, it means you can, like, say they've got, you've got these kind of random open world events called fates, where it's a timed event. So some of them have multiple phases. So like you've got the battle on the High Bridge, phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. You can do them with friends.
Okay.
Regardless of what world you're on, because you can just all migrate to that world. But you will always automatically load into your world.
Yeah, that sounds like more like an idea of you
it
can
just
come
means,
visit, but you can't stay.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
However, you can permanently switch, but I think like the first time is free.
As like with all of them.
And
if you want to jump again.
Yeah. And then it will cost you, I think it's like a tenner every time after that.
So that means you have to lose all your shit you've got in your other world, yeah? Or do you like sell?
No. You take most of it with you. You have to sell the house if you have one. But that's it. Everything else goes with you.
That's not bad.
All your equipment, your retainers, your chocobo, mounts, all of that.
Cool.
What's up next?
Yay, something I can talk about a little bit.
Oh no, I've not put a star next to that. We can't talk about it.
Get fucked away. No way.
BioWare have Anthem coming out, and
Thank
they are
God.
going to be celebrating N7 Day with Mass Effect armor.
Oofed.
And
Fucking oofed.
it appears to be the Javelin armor that is shown in tweets.
Oh, okay, right.
Because obviously you've got the 4 styles.
Well, if you're looking for like a shepherd stand-in, it would be the javelin.
And I think the Javelin's your DPS, essentially, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a kind of. I think it's a faster one, but it's not got a shield. The Colossus, I want to say. They can't fly permanently like a mage type, and I don't think it's like a sniper type. Is this what's the 4th one again? I always remember it. So you've got a big one that's got a shield, right?
Yep.
That one that's like charges in and shit. You've got the I say magey type, but it's one you can fly and it's like you shoot, energy bolts and crap.
Hold on, I'll Google it. Anthem.
There's 4 different types. I just can't remember.
Suit names.
And I'm right in saying you get one of each. Yeah, you can just swap between them.
Right. I think so.
Yeah, cool.
I don't know. I can't remember. So you have Javelin,
Right, okay, that's the standard one.
Storm.
That's
Your
one.
Meiji one.
Yeah.
Ranger.
Oh, so where's Ranger one? Right, okay. That's like snipery?
No, wait. You've got your Interceptor, which is a snipery one. I think... Hold on. No, your Colossus is the big tank one.
Yeah. Colossus is always a big tanky one. Big shield.
Right, no, the... I think you're right. No, Ranger is a Javelin model as well.
Oh, okay. So there's only 3 types then? I'm confused.
Yeah, the Javelin is the name of the exosuit.
Right. Oh, and they get different models of the exosuit.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So you've got. So you start with the Ranger type, and then by the first quarter of the game story, you will have the other 3 Javelins.
All right. So, Javelin's more like Jaeger in terminology.
Yeah. So Ranger, a versatile all-purpose Javelin suitable for various tasks.
Got it. Okay. Right.
Colossus, a tank and powerhouse, lending itself more to strength-orientated attacks.
Mm-hmm.
Storm, a long-range spellcaster Javelin. And Interceptor, a speed-focused Javelin.
Spells?
It's spell and inverted commas.
Okay. That makes more sense. Yeah. It even explains that then.
But it does operate around the traditional trinity of MMO classes.
As it always does, yeah.
Tank, healer, damage. I don't know which one's going to be healer though.
Healer's not in it. Warrior, rogue, mage. Where are you getting healer?
The trinity?
No, that's not Trinity.
Yeah, it is.
No. Warrior, rogue, mage. That's
The classic MMO raid group or dungeon party is 4 characters: tank, 2 DPS, and a healer. It's that in Warcraft. It's that in Final Fantasy. It's that in ESO.
Well, yeah, if it's a 4-man party, then you add an white mage.
It's a 4-man party, and is standard in Anthem.
I know. I'm just saying. The 4th one's always going to be white mage because no one ever wants to be a white mage.
I like white mage.
Hence why you're getting uppity.
Actually, to be fair, I prefer red mage.
Oh, that's because you can do both. Yeah.
DPS and heal. I don't know how far we're going down for the next bit. Because
I'll let you up to you. I'm not too fast.
you want to talk about this one?
Yeah, sure. Because I think it's bullshit.
I think it sounds like fun.
Oh, it's fun, but bullshit.
The newest Just Cause trailer has brought a tornado to a gunfight.
It's honestly,
it's so good.
I can't wait until this becomes like a proper mechanic, like in games, like Weller, that can actually fuck you up.
Yeah. So at the XO18 event in Mexico City, which is Xbox's Nintendo Direct or PlayStation Experience like thing.
PlayStation Experience is such a shit name.
Well, that's what Sony have been calling it.
Well, they shouldn't.
It showed you, it's a better grappling hook. It gives you tornadoes, and the tornado is not an instant kill event. Avalanche Games are making sure that nothing in the world is an insta kill event. This is to encourage people to try more outrageous shit as much outrageous shit as possible without the fear of death.
Is that a quote?
Yes, that's a quote from the article I took this from.
I'm trying to see if you've actually done it or you're just saying it. Oh my god, wow, okay.
That includes surfing on cars inside a Texas Twister.
Is that in Texas?
No.
Why the fuck would you call it a Texas Twister?
Because that's what they're classically known as.
Oh, away you go, they fucked up.
No, like...
Nah.
Have you ever seen the movie Twister?
Duh. I'm a 90s kid. If you haven't seen it, then shame on you.
Exactly, a Texas Twister. That's what they were called. That's basically what the movie was based off of. Storm chasers in Texas chasing twisters. Hence why they're called Texas Twisters. It's a colloquialism for them.
But no one else calls them Texas Twisters.
Except Americans.
You mean Texans?
Americans.
Not Americans.
From New York down to Texas.
That's kind of like a small area. You kind of
Oregon to Texas.
isn't Oregon kind of in the middle-ish?
From Quebec to Texas. From Quebec to Texas.
Quebec.
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 It's not Quebec. It's Quebec. It's Q.
Yes, I know that's how it's spelled.
So
It's not how it's said.
Yeah, it's Quebec.
I have a friend who lives there.
Well, tell them they're doing it wrong. It's Quebec.
Everybody that I've met from there calls it Quebec.
Because they're doing it wrong. It's Quebec.
Just like how Toronto is actually over there for some reason pronounced Toronto.
No, that's because they say it too fast.
Yeah,
Caffeine. Bad. It's bad for you.
it's the same with Quebec.
Yeah, Quebec.
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 Anyway,
I will fucking
Anyway.
argue with someone from there. I don't care. It's Quebec.
also, by the way, it's not actually called Newfoundland, it's Newfoundland.
Newfoundland?
Newfoundland.
Newfoundland. Do. No. No. It's Newfoundland, thank you. I'll pronounce my shit
Newfoundland.
I'll pronounce my shit properly. Better than some random like Newfoundland. Fuck's sake.
Anyway, there's also the black market, which
Okay.
can drop anything instantly. Just think of Rico in the game as like Wile E. Coyote, just dropping in things from the Acme.
Oh my god. Okay.
It's gonna be so fun.
How gutted would you be if you drop in a pure epic item and then hits a tornado? And you're like, oh, fuck off.
Oh,
Like,
that
you
would be
literally see
so funny.
Your crate driving away in the tornado and you're like, oh, no.
That'd be so much fun. I don't get what would be so wrong with that. It would just encourage you to jump into the tornado and chase it.
Man.
Next up we have some Xbox news.
Yeah,
Xbox
Xbox.
news. Xbox have been on a bit of a buying spree when it comes to studios. At E3 they announced they had bought Playground Games, known for Forza Horizon,
Mm-hmm.
Ninja Theory, known for Hellblades,
Mm-hmm.
Undead Labs, known for State of Decay, and Compulsion Games, who recently released We Happy Few.
Ah, okay.
Now-
When it's apparently buggy as fuck.
Also apparently fun as all hell.
Oh, fair enough. So it's mixed.
Not every game that they're going to produce will be first party, but the vast majority of them will now be first party.
Okay, cool.
So you will see some games come out for other platforms
Mm-hmm.
occasionally. But the first one that they announced that they had purchased was the makers of Wasteland. That's NXL Entertainment.
Yeah, didn't think it was that good.
Um,
I'll play played a bit of the second one.
well, they've purchased them.
Mm-hmm.
And they've also recently added Obsidian Entertainment.
Okay, Obsidian's good. I'll give them that.
Now, Obsidian Entertainment is going to be joining what is called the Initiative,
Okay, that's pretty cool.
which is a new internal studio made up of many, many other studios.
Mm-hmm.
And that has been headed up by the former studio head of Crystal Dynamics.
Ooh, not bad.
So it's definitely got some pedigree there, and the addition of Obsidian will bring some valuable RPG knowledge to Microsoft Studios lineup.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, if you look at all the first party games that seem to come out for Xbox, Forza,
Mm-hmm.
Forza Horizon, Gears, and Halo
All right,
are
yeah.
pretty much it. 2 FPS games, well, they're not even FPS games. One's FPS, one's third person,
Mm-hmm.
and 2 racing games.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much the bulk of your first party lineup. Like, obviously, it's not your only first party games, but those are the best known ones.
Mm-hmm.
Because you've also got Blinks, which is like since the original Xbox not been around anywhere. And you've got a couple of other games which are kind of hit and miss. They're there sometimes they're not. But that's your 4 main ones.
Mm-hmm.
And none of them are RPGs. So bringing in Obsidian will bring, RPG, much needed RPGs to, like first party ones particularly, to Microsoft, which would be fantastic.
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty big.
Now, Obsidian are currently working on an RPG. which has been led by Fallout creators Tim Kaine and Leonard Boyarsky. And it's in development at Take-Two's private division. Now, a representative from Take-Two private division said in an interview with Polygon, I believe, we look forward to publishing the upcoming RPG from Obsidian Entertainment. We're excited to share more about the game in the near future. So, for those who don't know, Obsidian was founded in 2003 by former members of Black Isle Studios, the makers of Baldur's Gate and Icewind Dale, which I believe are based on D&D?
No idea.
Or
possibly.
Or it's either that or they're Elder Scrolls spin-offs. I can't remember. I think they're D&D though.
No idea.
But their studio is in Irvine, California.
Cool.
Crackdown's coming out mid-February next year.
Don't care.
That's all I've got to say on it, because every time somewhere announces a release date, Microsoft come out 2 weeks later and go, oh, by the way, we're delaying it another month.
Yeah.
And we're just like, is there even a point anymore?
I think honestly the buzz for Crackdown died a long time ago.
I think that there's only... I don't have an Xbox 3, right? I've had this conversation with so many people. I'm pissed off with Xbox's naming strategy for consoles.
Right, okay.
So,
Xbox
the Xbox One was the original Xbox. The Xbox 360 is the Xbox 2. And the Xbox One is the Xbox goddamn 3. Okay? They can call the next Xbox whatever they like.
720.
I'm calling it the Xbox 4.
No, it'll be Xbox 720.
I will buy one and I'll buy a white one and write on it with a black Sharpie, Xbox fucking 4.
I'll just point out, you did not write 4 in the earlier. I don't know what you wrote there. Oh, yeah, that was different.
I wrote
slashing method.
I wrote "fuck you Xbox." That's what I wrote.
No, I didn't. Just random squiggle. Oh, right, 4 squiggles.
So XEA design boss starts a new studio with Nexon's backing.
I don't know who. Gonna find out who fucking Nexon is.
Nexon.
It rings such a big bell, and I don't know why.
Nexon.
Swear to God, if we make Hoovers or some shit.
I don't know, but for some reason it's telling me tires.
Nexon tires? That can't be right.
But it's spelled Nexen.
That's not right.
Nexon. It seems to be a store for games.
Oh, it's like really?
Power Rangers All Stars, Marvel
Lord.
Battle Lines, Maple Story, Darkness Rises, After the End. Yeah.
Oh, these games they sell or make?
Sell. Download on App Store, get on Google Play. Evil Factory, Dominations, Dynasty Warriors Unleashed, Master of Eternity. Oh, that's a Romance of Three Kingdoms game.
Oh my God, here we go.
Heroes of Incredible Tales, Returners. Yeah, about Nexon. It does appear to be a game store.
So it's like Best Buy?
Yeah, digital.
Oh, okay. So it's more...
Pioneer in the world of interactive entertainment software, we introduced the world to the first graphic MMORPG, Kingdom of the Winds, back in 1995.
And I've never heard of it.
The first mainstream one, I believe, was called EverQuest, and that was released in 1997.
I've heard of that one.
It's commonly called Evercrack because it was so addictive.
You're so painfully lame. Oh my God.
That wasn't me that called it that.
You didn't have to tell me it. The minute to clean your face when you said that. Evercrack.
It was something you probably didn't know, and I was expanding your knowledge in the world of video games. It's a joy for me to do that kind of thing.
Oh my God.
Anyway, the name of the studio is called Embark Studios, and the person we're talking about in particular is Patrick Soderlund. As you know, we've had a rant about him on this podcast before.
Because he's a dumbass.
He was the chief design officer for EA, former head of DICE, the studio behind Battlefield, and is the chief executive of a new studio called Embark Studios. It's going to be based in Stockholm, and they announced a partnership with Nexon Soderlund has also since joined the Nexon's board of directors. The statement did not announce any specific projects or types of games Embark will work on, but considering his stance on story-driven single-player games, remembering the last time we spoke about him, he said no one plays single-player games anymore.
What?
It'll probably use the shitty games as service model.
Legitimately, I don't. I'm probably in the minority, but I don't see the joy to be found in fully just only playing multiplayer games. I like a good story. I like knowing. For me, I like seeing. Like, depending on how immersive the game world is, I like seeing the changes that come about from your interactions.
Yeah. Like, don't get me wrong, I like a multiplayer game.
No.
I don't like the fact that multiplayer games are being forced upon us. Like, for example, Call of Duty Black Ops 3, right? It wasn't the best story in a game ever. But you know what? For the Call of Duty franchise, it was a bloody good story, right? That's the only reason I played Call of Duty Black Ops. Black Ops 1, 2 and 3 had decent storylines for an FPS game. And you could start story mode and either start it private, which means multiplayer was enabled but you had to invite people.
Yeah.
Otherwise you're playing it solo. Or public, where you could join someone else's game, someone could join your game, or friends could join your game. And you can play the campaign multiplayer, a lot like what we were doing for a while with The Division.
Yeah.
You know, just playing through the story, just together, just chilling out, hanging out, buggering around with it. Or you could play zombies or online, like the maps games, you know, Kill Confirm, TDM, Search and Destroy, blah, 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 blah. However, you know, we're moving into this kind of age where that's kind of dying out, the whole single player thing, because a lot of people see how popular multiplayer gaming is, and single player gaming is slowly but surely becoming a niche market, not because players are choosing not to play single player games,
because of what's getting pushed on them,
but because like the rise in popularity of multiplayer games has made a lot of studios go, it's just going to be a multiplayer game. It's just going to be a multiplayer game.
Not fun.
And don't get me wrong, I don't mind getting multiplayer pushed upon us for certain games, right? Things like Mario Party is not going to be fun single player.
Because it wouldn't be a party.
Exactly.
You can't have a party. Well,
so things like party games,
really
and even that,
acceptable.
Those games are couch co-op, split screen.
And that's completely different multiplayer for me.
Yeah, and those are the great multiplayer games. Like Overcooked, man, I love that game.
Not played it, but I can understand why you'd think it was good.
I can let you have a shot of it at some point, because I have Overcooked for the Switch.
Next week.
At some point.
Yep.
Whatever day I have off. Because I think I'm working all 7 days next week, I think.
Ouch.
I'm probably not. I know, well, I'm not, because I know I've got Sunday off, and that's it. I don't know what other days I've got off yet. But I think they're going to just be like the games of service model, and it's not going to be great. So we'll just leave it at that. Telltale Games, the ongoing saga of Telltale Games.
The ongoing ending saga of Telltale Games.
It's not ongoing until the last bit of this is done. Yes, they've been their games are being taken off of Steam, and studio liquidation has started. So, some of their episodic games like Jurassic Park, Back to the Future, Monkey Island are no longer available for sale on Steam.
Some of those I haven't even heard of.
They're still for sale on other platforms like the PlayStation Store and Xbox Game Store. Walking Dead series has also been removed from Steam.
All right.
It's looking like slowly but surely the entire back catalogue, all the way up to the latest games, will be removed from Steam. It's possible that other sellers like Humble Bundle, and I think Good Old Games are still selling some of them as well.
That's some epic names. Humble
Bundle are still selling seasons of The Walking Dead. Game of Thrones, Batman, and Wolf Among Us are still available on Steam. They are liquidating their assets, according to a report from Game Daily. The developer laid off the vast majority of the employees in September, and we were talking about this, and it's such a strange thing because we were talking about how it's probably because they didn't upgrade the engine.
Yeah, so I had to do everything randomly afterwards.
Yeah, but this all happened in the middle of development for Walking Dead's final season. So they've struck a deal with the comic creator Robert Kirkman and his company, Skybound Entertainment, to at least finish the final season before they close down. Former employees are suing the company in a class action lawsuit, alleging it violated labour laws when it laid off hundreds of its employees.
Well, I can see that working.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, I'll get any money from it, I don't know. I mean, if it's already liquidating everything.
Well, that's part of what, like, liquidating. When you liquidate a company, you sell off everything to pay the money back to people you owe money to. So your staff wages is one of them.
Yeah, but we're gonna try and get just more than just wages, though.
Yeah, because they didn't get like severance, what we call severance pay or redundancy pay. I don't know what they call it over there.
Well, it's not really redundancy, is it? It's not even like they're not needed. It's they can't be paid for.
Yeah, and that's what some of the liquidated assets will pay for. So yeah, let's see what's next. PUBG's coming to PS4 in December. Not even worth it. PUBG's shite. So's Fortnite.
Yeah.
Sony and the PlayStation brand are not going to be E3 2019.
So 2019 is going to be a bit weird when it comes to E3.
Yeah, because I mean we're losing some of the big names from E3. Like,
we're getting it in good instead. We're getting it in good instead, or is it just going to be like Xbox by itself leading the charge?
You're going to have Xbox there.
Yeah. You said Nintendo are doing the same thing as last time?
Nintendo are not officially... Like, they've got booths for trying the games and stuff.
But they're basically phoning it in.
But for their presentation, they're just doing a Nintendo Direct.
So they're phoning it in.
Yeah. Last year, Square Enix done the... Well, I say last year, this year's E3. Square Enix did the Nintendo Direct presentation format. So you had Ubisoft, Bethesda... EA. You didn't have Activision. Ubisoft, EA, Bethesda, Devolver Digital. In fact, no, Devolver Digital was a show as well, a presentation show as well. It was a pre-recorded one.
Can't remember.
Who else was there? Sony were there, Xbox. Yeah, like 5 of the 7, 8. Like 5 of the 8 that were there.
So you might get some just standalone companies doing presentations then?
Yeah, but then at the same time you have, like, you always have like lots of companies there that aren't doing big presentations.
But
doing
something anyway. Like
having trade stands, things like, for example, I'm trying to think of a kind of indie maybe not even an indie company, just a company that wasn't there, like in the way of doing a presentation. No, my Focus Home Entertainment. That's the guys that make Farming Simulator and stuff like that.
I'm going to continue flying over because screw it.
Fine, right, we'll do another one. Tecmo Koei. Dynasty Warriors,
okay.
Attack on Titan, One Piece Pirate Warriors, basically, Warriors Orgy.
Asian games.
Not Asian games, hack and slash games.
From a what kind of background?
South Korean.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, point is, they're usually there with like a display, you know, a couple of consoles, try out their games, some leaflets, folk you can speak to about projects that are coming up and projects that are currently being worked on. So,
I wonder if I'll get lucky enough to get why can I wish we get words and names.
A slot for a presentation.
Yeah. Fuck's sake.
A slot for a presentation?
Yeah, it's a big company. I'm trying to remember its name.
Alright, Capcom,
No, no one I like.
Konami,
No, other one I like.
Bandai Namco,
No, God, that's one you like. Oh my God.
Square Enix,
No.
BioWare.
Thank you.
They're already there. EA.
No, as in them, just them.
No, because they're owned by EA, so they go as EA.
That's gay.
That's why
Cool.
id Software and Avalanche. Is it Avalanche? Who's making Rage? It's not Avalanche.
Yeah, we were. No, that was our Xbox. That was introduced with them.
No, because it was a Bethesda game, but it's not Bethesda.
It was introduced at the same kind of section, roughly.
Yeah, they done a bit for Xbox and a bit for the Bethesda presentation, just like Square Enix done some KH3 stuff there and at PlayStation and at Xbox. They had like Square Enix had 3 different trailers for KH3, one for the Square Enix presentation, one for the
One for this road, one for the road. Severe off-road 1, A1, 21st century.
fucking hell. Shut up, sorry.
Why did you say you're Australian? That amuses me.
I think Surrey sounds best in Australian.
Oh my God.
On the very rare occasion I use it. But yeah,
Right, sorry.
they had one for Sony, one for Xbox, one for the Square Enix presentations.
Mm-hmm.
So they had 3 different trailers, one for each presentation.
Mm.
And that's what happened with Rage 2 as well. They had one for Bethesda and one for Xbox. But I can't remember the actual developer of Rage 2 off the top of my head.
Nope.
But no, BioWare will be in with EA as it always is.
Ugh.
Unless BioWare managed to buy themselves out of EA, we're not going to see that happen.
Yeah, not unless Anthem blasts it right out of the park.
Yeah. But no, because the last couple of years, PlayStation has not been officially at E3, but they have done the PlayStation Experience kind of thing just down the roads, and your E3 ticket will get you in to PlayStation, but it's not. It doesn't matter if you get one just for the PlayStation thing; it doesn't get you into E3. But yeah, they're not doing anything at all. E3 have said that both Microsoft and Nintendo have committed to participating in E3 2019. However, they aren't, Nintendo won't be doing the stage presentation, they'll do it direct as usual.
Yeah.
Along with the following third-party game publishers: Activision, Bethesda, Capcom, Epic, Konami, Square Enix, Take-Two, Ubisoft, and Warner Bros. Interactive Entertainment. So yeah, we're going to, it's I don't really see the point in E3 that much, to be fair. I get excited when E3 comes around, don't get me wrong, because a lot of the companies always pull out something special for E3 specifically. But see all the things that you can do for E3, you can do any time of the year, because you've got the Nintendo Direct, Xbox's, what they called this year XO18.
Weird.
And PlayStation's got their PlayStation Experience.
Horrible name.
And every year, they every time they do them, they can just do whatever they want, but they always save the best for E3. And so we don't really need E3 anymore as a trade show, because everything can be done through YouTube and Twitch and just on websites and stuff. But at the same time, with E3, at least people get to go there and try out some of the games that are there on show.
I just make it into a con run, basically, or take a con going already and just kind of mix it in.
But we'll see if PlayStation come back for 2020. But a lot of people have been speculating that the reason that they're not doing E3 this year, next year, is because of the PS5. What they're going to do is they're just going to totally screw up all of E3 by just in the middle, just having a live stream which is not E3 related and going, by the way, Xbox, PlayStation 5, $300. Dumb.
My God.
Way. I mean, that's what they done to with I think it was like the PS3 or the PS4 or something. Maybe even been the PS2. You know, someone released a console and announced the price, and it was like fairly expensive. And then someone else released something for a console. It was a wee bit less, and then they just went $300 and then walked away. You know, and like, because that was like the cheapest out of the lot of them. So, you know, I remember that, and they might just do something like that.
Never know.
But yeah, that this leads us on to our final news piece, as well as a wee bit of an opinion piece at the same time.
Yeah, a little bit.
The Game Awards 2018 are coming up. They will be live on air December 6th, 9 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Pacific time in America, or 2 a.m. here in the UK. And
Nice.
you'll be able to watch it on Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Mixer, Steam TV, PS4, Xbox Live, and all of that. And you can vote for the winners of each of these categories online through Discord, Google Assistant, Amazon Alexa, Facebook Messenger, and Twitter. I'm pretty sure there's some other ones as well.
Probably.
So there's a total of 30 categories. We're not going through every single category.
No, we're probably only going for about half, maybe.
We'll mention each category. We maybe mention the nominees. I don't know.
We like the category. If we don't know.
However, the ones that we feel confident in having a say in, we will tell you our predictions for it. But just probably worth noting that Sony Studios, Santa Monica Studios game God of War, Rockstar Games Red Dead Redemption 2, and Insomniac Games Spider-Man are in the vast majority of these.
Yeah, I love that.
I think they're across. I think collectively they got about 14 nominations across 23 categories.
Roughly, yeah.
Right. So, first up is Game of the Year. The nominations are Assassin's Creed Odyssey by Ubisoft, Celeste from Matt Makes Games, God of War from Santa Monica Studios, Spider-Man from Insomniac Games, Monster Hunter World from Capcom, and Red Dead 2 from Rockstar Games. I've predicted Marvel Spider-Man because it's just such a fantastic game. I've not played Celeste, I've not played Red Dead, God of War, or Assassin's Creed, but I've seen gameplay from Red Dead, God of War, and Assassin's Creed. I've not seen anything from Celeste. But, I mean, I've played Monster Hunter and it's a good game, but I don't think it's quite Game of the Year material.
Yeah.
But Marvel Spider-Man is just, like, out of all of them, just the best game I've seen all year. You know, that's just me.
Like, for me, admittedly, Spider-Man, like, that traded mostly on nostalgia. A lot of people played it not only because of Spider-Man, but because they played one of the Spider-Man games growing up. So the idea of getting one in our generation, it was amazing. I did love it. However, the sheer amount of fanfare and insane shit that came around when Red Dead came out, even just like how it just blew everyone out of the water. And that's why I chose this for Game of the Year, because I think it just went above and beyond.
I definitely think, like, I know I've predicted Spider-Man, but I definitely think Red Dead, Monster Hunter, Celeste, and Assassin's Creed are probably the ones that are more likely to get more votes than Spider-Man and God of War, simply because they are multi-platform games. They're not, like, because Spider-Man and God of War are PlayStation exclusives, and the other games are not they're not exclusive to any console. So people who only have an Xbox can't play them, so they might not get as many votes because of that. But I mean, hopefully they're not just going off what, like, games that they've played. You know, they've looked at games that they might not have been able to play and asked people about them and
YouTube videos, let's play,
yeah,
kind of thing,
and used that to influence their decision. Because when I read this, I didn't look up every single game.
No, I won't say I have no idea what Celeste is.
But
not gonna lie.
I looked up quite a few of the games, whether I've played them or not. Because if it's games I've not played in a while, I've looked them up to refresh my memory on them and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I I definitely think Spider-Man should win it. The next one is best ongoing game, so online multiplayer game. Your nominations are Destiny 2 from Bungie, Epic Games' Fortnite, No Man's Sky from Hello Games, which has been better since the new patches have came out, especially with adding in multiplayer.
Yeah.
Overwatch from Blizzard, and Rainbow Six Siege from Ubisoft. And it's the most popular of all these games here, and it's easy. It's just gonna have to say Fortnite.
Yeah, for me, I don't have a horse in this race. I think all these games aren't my cup of tea. I don't do big multiplayer games. It's not my style. But what I do know is Destiny 2 was kind of derivative of the first one. There's not much changing.
Yeah.
No Man's Sky was a joke at the start, and only now is becoming an issue.
Yeah.
Overwatch has been consistently popular, but it's nowhere near the insanity that Fortnite has drawn.
Yeah.
And Siege, well, I've heard some interesting things about it. I just don't think it was ever going to be as big as Fortnite, purely just because Fortnite's a fucking religion in itself at this point.
Pretty much.
Which is not a good thing. I'm not going to lie. This is not praise. This is worry, just utter worry for kids in games.
Yeah, it's worrying to see this as the direction that video games are going in, especially when players these days are of like a younger generation compared to us, because despite the fact that we're not all that old, we're old.
I mean, I used to think what was it? Minecraft was a mental idea.
Yeah,
but at least it pushed people to create some amazing things.
Yeah, that's what I quite like about Minecraft, is that you can be super creative with it.
Yeah, it's not just like you won't play a game. It's literally you have to make an idea, you bring it to life, and it's cool. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Whereas Fortnite is, I don't get it.
But no, I miss the days of big story-driven RPGs.
Well, thankfully they're still coming.
Yes, thankfully they are still coming. But I mean, because we've had Dragon Age come out this year. Well, I say that it came out last year in Japan, and it came out this year over here.
Mm-hmm.
We had Ni no Kuni 2 come out, Octopath Traveler. We had Final Fantasy 15 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
We've got a new expansion for Final Fantasy 14 coming this year.
Mm-hmm.
We do have a lot of big RPGs and MMORPGs, because we've got the new World of Warcraft Classic mode coming out. But there's not as many compared to like all these multiplayer online games, and that's the worry.
For me, I think it's quality is going to ruin it. No, it's like quantity is going to ruin it.
Yeah.
Because as one more try and come out, it's just going to get to the point where we'll oversaturate the market, and I look forward to that day.
Yeah.
When people are just like, John, we can't make money from this. Let's do what we should be doing, making good games.
Yeah, because I mean, you're talking about saturating market, because you've got Battlefield 5 has a Battle Royale mode. Well, it doesn't yet, but it's coming.
Mm-hmm.
Black Ops 4 has a Battle Royale mode.
Mm-hmm.
You've got, your two main Battle Royale games at the moment, Fortnite and PUBG.
Mm-hmm.
You've got H1Z1.
Mm-hmm.
You've got Realm Royale. You've got that Doom mod, which turned into a Battle Royale game.
I have heard of that, actually, yeah.
Yeah, because it was me that told you about it.
Probably why I heard about
it. You've got that one that was in its alpha stage about 4 months ago. We were talking about it, from the creators of Cyanide and Happiness.
I heard of that.
Yeah, because we were talking about it on this podcast.
No, I heard of this other game as well. It's like it's a big MMO. It's kind of like in the vein of Fortnite and what's that fucking one that's coming out in PlayStation?
PUBG.
But it's like heavily physics based, right? So it's like you try and aim, but you
yeah, the ragdoll one. Yeah.
And then like you fire and you like fuck off, like fly. Yeah, and that game sounds interesting.
Yes.
Not because I like.
Yeah, because you showed me that on YouTube before we done a podcast about a month ago.
Amazingly, I forgot about it. I watched it in a trailer, like I think it was today actually, and I'm just like, oh my god, that looks insane. It's like you should just see a guy firing a sniper rifle and he fucking flies back 20 feet lower away, and you're like,
yeah, because it uses total ragdoll physics.
It just looks really refreshing and funny. And it's never going to be a serious game, and I like that.
Yeah.
Whereas Fortnite is like, I don't think it's meant to be serious, and now all these people using it as a pure, this is the best game ever. It's like, no.
Yeah.
No, can you yourself?
I know. The next category.
Yeah.
Best game direction. So, you know, we talk about how well movies are directed.
Mm.
This is the same, but for games.
Mm.
Your nominations are A Way Out, Detroit Become Human, God of War, Marvel Spider-Man, and RDR2. I've picked Detroit Become Human because it was just such a really cool game. I never really played the full game. I played the demo, but the fact that it's so cohesive despite the fact that it's branched.
Yeah.
So like there's like so many options of what to do that it can end in so many different ways. Like I got about 6 endings just in the demo for the level I was doing.
Oofed.
And it was fantastic, and the fact that it can still remain so cohesive yet being so branched is just a sign of such great direction. And there's not many other games that have been out this year like that, so it was a no-brainer for me.
Yeah, mine is more basic. I went for Spider-Man because I love anything where it actually makes you feel heroic doing the most minor things. Like one of the side quests involved literally catching pigeons.
Yeah,
And
I love that side quest.
I know, it's just one of those things where it makes you remember, like, Spidey isn't always this big, massive hero. He's not fucking Thor.
He's your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Legitimately. He's a big-ass hero, but he's always made time for little people. And that's what I love. It's the idea of remembering that heroes don't have to be these big, earth-shattering behemoths. It's like just people doing a nice thing because it's nice. Simple as that.
Yeah, I agree.
Plus, even though if you've read any comic books or watched any TV shows or whatever, there was a twist with Octavius.
I don't
Well,
think
it's not a twist.
I don't think I've got that far in the game yet, actually.
Well, you kind of guessed it was coming when you found out his name.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
It was Octavius, yeah.
Yeah, but like just over time, as you see it coming, I honestly got kind of emotional because you're like, oofed. That hit me. I knew it was coming.
Yeah.
A mile away, but you're just like, my heart. Oh God. Oh. Oh man.
The next one is the best art direct. No, wait, no, it's
Yeah,
not.
you can just jump.
I skipped one. Best narrative. So again, you've got Detroit Become Human, God of War, Life is Strange 2 Episode 1, Marvel Spider-Man, and Red Dead Redemption 2.
Okay.
I've gone with Life is Strange 2 Episode 1 because the Life is Strange games are built to be, you know, a narrative game. That's really what they are. They're about, you know, impactful choices, and it was just so really, really cool. I remember I've not played Life is Strange 2, but I remember Life is Strange 1. I've seen a couple of Let's Plays of Life is Strange 2, and you know what? It just looks like a great story for me. The problem with like God of War, Red Dead, and Marvel Spider-Man is they don't really have a narrative that pushes you forward all the time. You know, because you can go and explore and do lots of side missions and stuff, where Detroit Become Human and Life is Strange 2 are more narrative driven. That's why I kind of picked that over the other ones. I mean, don't get me wrong, the story portion of the other three are good. You know, it's a good story, but when I think of a narrative game, I think of one that's always it's always a lot more linear.
Okay.
Even if it does have branches,
There's always a one main path.
like Detroit Become Human is a branching storyline, but the narrative of the game, even though you go down any branch you want through the actions that you take, it always drives you forward towards the end of that part of the story. There's no time to go and, you know, dilly-dally, climb up the Avengers Tower.
Dilly-dally, yeah.
You know, there's no time to go and climb up the Avengers Tower. You know, you're one track. How you get to the end and what the ending is, you know, that's irrelevant. The story pushes you forward because, like, again, I'll reference it in the demo, the fact that it was a hostage situation. the longer you took, the more people got injured,
Mhm.
and the less chance you had of saving the hostage.
Yeah.
So, there was the time implication of you had to do this quickly,
Mm.
but how you did it was up to you. So, but because Life is Strange, it's such a nice game, and like, because you've got Life is Strange 1, Life is Strange 2, and between that you've got the The Adventures of Captain Spirit.
Some shit like that, yeah.
Yeah, that wee free game which explored that universe.
Mm-hmm.
So not only have you got the narrative, you've also got the lore and the world building there as well,
Mm-hmm.
across 3 games. So it's going to be ramped up a bit more than it was in the first game, and this kind of wee mini teaser game like thing. So yeah, it made it an easy choice for me.
Yeah, I'm gonna go in a complete opposite idea of everything you just said. For me, a game narratively is one that's strong in the fast moments as well as the slow. As a game that does reflect life, it's like, unless it's one in which you're forced to continually keep going with the story and keep the pacing fast, keep the narrative story going.
Well, I know I said, always pushing you towards
Yeah.
that, but it's not always pushing you fast. It's just
No, I know what you mean, but like,
It-
just where you're talking like the narrative, like you need to keep like the cohesiveness, right? But sometimes the best narratives for me are ones that remind you why you're doing it.
yeah,
For instance, in Spider-Man, the whole point of them is you have to continually remind yourself you are the hero, right? It's not just go and explore; it's go and help this person who's had a car accident, go help this person who's getting robbed. You are the hero of the story, and sometimes while that is beneficial, obviously, I get what you mean. How if it branches too much or too far away, you do have a habit of getting lost in the small points. However, like you said, it's all about what came before. So for Spider-Man, obviously, this is its standalone game, effectively. Yeah, it does reference a lot of what he's done, because this is it was 8 years he's been at it or something. So it's not like a pure origin story. It's literally he's been in it for ages. He's put away his fair amount of people.
yeah,
However, I will point out, for me, I'm choosing God of War, because from a narrative point of view, it's effectively it's an angry man who's realised there's more to life when there's rage. And I get obviously why he's angry, because he's got one of the most messed up backstories
yeah,
ever. But the idea of forcing all that rage away to look after something seems like just such a kind of turnaround, and the fact you have to keep building on the fact on his warrior past while trying to raise someone. I don't know, just the kind of dynamics I always found really interesting. But yeah, so for me, best narrative was God of War, either that or it'd be Red Dead, purely just because it was fucking Red Dead. It's such a massive, encompassing story.
yeah. I think all the games have really good narratives. I don't. By not picking one, I almost feel like I'm saying
Bad.
it's bad. It's not. They all have great stories and great narratives. It's just
One spoke to you more than another.
the style of how the narrative is presented, like the pacing and the fact it's a lot more linear than the other games, is it speaks to me more that way, because when I think of narrative, I think, if I read a book, is that how I would expect a book to go?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I like branching storylines and I like branching narratives, but at the best of times, I like it just to come down to, is that what I would expect to read in a book?
Well, to be fair, sometimes the best parts of books are the ones where it's not action placed and action getting done. It's literally just what they're like when they're not being forced to be someone else.
Yeah.
Like when Peter Parker can just be Peter Parker.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have to go off and save someone. It's just him, like helping out in homeless shelter.
Yeah.
All those little points.
Although, to be fair, like most of the books I read are post-war alternate history, like Dead of Night, Resurrection Day, or like it's called New Age Wisdom, I think they're called.
All right.
Things like Letters to a Young Poet by Rainer Maria Rilke, which was written just after the Second World War, or even older than that. You've got your classic wisdom as well, things like Sun Tzu's Art of War and Liu Guozhang's Romance of Three Kingdoms. That's my preferred style of book. Although I always have a soft spot for a Stephen King or John Grisham novel.
Not gonna lie, I feel like utter trash compared to you. Like for me, it's just a little bit of young action, not young action, young adult novels and that kind of shit. What can I say? I haven't grown up in terms of novel wise.
To be fair, that's all the kind of stuff I was reading in high school. I didn't read young adult novels. I didn't read Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings.
Harry Potter.
I didn't read George R.R. Martin.
I still can't read them. It's too much.
I didn't read that kind of stuff. It didn't. Don't get me wrong. I like that kind of fantasy setting.
Mm.
I just wasn't that big of a fan. I just preferred what I actually read. The most modern book that I've actually read and enjoyed was by Max Allan Collins, and it's a book called Coldburn, and it's based off CSI.
Fuck.
It's a trilogy, and it was the first book was called Coldburn, and I never actually got the second two books, so I don't actually know how the story arc ends, but I read the first book. But yeah. Next up is art direction.
Okay, so we've got Odyssey,
Assassin's Creed Odyssey, God of War,
can't even let me save time,
Octopath Traveler, Red Dead 2, and Return of Obra Dinn.
I have no idea what the last one is.
I've not actually seen Return of Obra Dinn yet.
So let's say that one's out, just because we don't know it.
But I've picked Octopath Traveler, because like I like the way that graphics are evolving and things like that. But graphics is not a big selling point for me.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, without good graphics, it does become it doesn't look as high budget a game, and when a game doesn't look as high budget, a lot of people go, "Oh, it's just a crappy wee cheap game. It's going to be pure crap." And sometimes that is the case. But I mean, I love the look of Octopath Traveler because it's like it takes like the current gen graphic style when it comes to like the effects for attacks and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes like kind of back to the late 80s, early 90s with the kind of 16-bit sprites for the characters, and then it's somewhere in the middle for the kind of world design. It's just a nice mix of all of them.
Mm-hmm.
And normally, like, if you'd described that to me, I would go, that sounds horrible. But when you look at it, it's the prettiest game out this year. And, well, it is. And it has a damn good story.
I won't argue that.
And the music is amazing.
Well, this is best art direction.
And everything about that game is amazing. See, if I could, I would vote that for Game of the Year. But yeah, that's my vote for best art direction. It just looks amazing. Don't get me wrong, the other games I can't say anything about Return of Obra Dinn because I've never seen that game.
Mm-hmm.
But Red Dead, God of War, Assassin's Creed, my problem with them is they all look very, like, they don't look the exact same, right? Because they're, Red Dead set in, the Wild West?
Yeah.
I'm just making sure we're still in the same timeline as the current, is like the last Red Dead, and we've not jumped to some other time.
Oh, no, Red Dead 2 is prequel.
Alright, that's fine then. God of War is set, like, kind of Nordic mythology times, and Assassin's Creed Odyssey is set in ancient Greece.
Mm-hmm.
But despite that, they, like, graphics wise, they all look very similar. They've got very similar art styles. They're just set in different places. Like, humans look like humans.
Shockingly.
And metal looks all shiny.
Shockingly.
But it shouldn't all the time. it should look. Some of it should look dark and dingy and.
Yeah, that's if you pick it with dark and dingy acts.
But no, I mean, I think they're just trying to make it too
realistic
looking, and then all the games just kind of start to look not the exact same, but very, very similar, and they all have like similar levels of art, like how close to realism they're getting, and I just like the fact that Octopath Traveler is taking a completely different art style than most games are taking just now, and going kind of backwards, but still making it look really clean and nice, and well, great, pretty, and it's a very weird art style that works so well that I can't get away from it. If you'd showed me graphics for each of these games and went, which one would you buy, I would have said Octopath Traveler. I wouldn't need to know anything about if I was to just buy them off looks, that would be the one I would buy.
Yeah, whereas for me, I'm admittedly a little bit more mainstream. I chose Red Dead purely because the idea of if you have to sit in game, right? For instance, say you, for whatever reason, had to have a quick conversation with someone, so you have to obviously stop playing, and if you just let the game keep going, and you just looked at the environment, you just judged it purely on what you see when you stop moving, when you stop playing, and it's just one of the most interesting things that you're watching the world go by. Watching, if it, for instance, in Red Dead, you can see little critters, like little animals kind of running around, and it's just the most vibrant and lifelike thing ever to try and consider. Like, plus there's like a day and night cycle, obviously. So, for instance, if it's a really fucking long conversation, you're gonna just see the world go by, and it's just one of the most interesting things. Because obviously, if you think back to like when you first started gaming, it was always static. Like, you want to talk to someone, they're always in one spot. Whereas now it's like, it's just very real.
Yeah, it's a great thing that the way physics engines have developed it's made it amazing like that, and as well that AI.
Mm-hmm. Plus, one of the things they've done really well. Admittedly, fire is always going to be one of the really difficult ones, but they've aced water.
Yeah,
water looks amazing. Fire always to me looks like it's a really hard one to do.
Fire is a really hard one to do. Like, for example, Final Fantasy Advent Children.
All right, yeah.
Don't get me wrong, the graphics don't really hold up today.
Yeah.
The graphics, they look like I watched it back maybe about a year ago, and the graphics look like something out of a video game that came out a bit more recently than the movie did. Because movies could do those graphics, but video games couldn't quite do it because of, like, it's not all pre-rendered.
Yeah.
But now...
You compare it to, say, like, 15.
Yeah.
15, just, like, the game's better than the movie.
Yeah. But at the same time, like, the one thing that no one ever seems to get is fire, like you said. And when you see the fire in that movie, it just reminds you that this is CG, like, so much that you go... Ew. I think
the easiest
that fire
is, right? You can sit and study, like, say you get a glass of water or something, or even like a bowl or whatever, right? And you do something to it. Always will do the same actions, right? You put your finger in, you have ripples and shit. It'll always be ripples.
Yeah.
It'll never be fucking squares, right? You light not even a match, because that's obviously too small flame. But say you start a fire, right? The fire will always flicker and twist and turn different ways.
Yeah.
You'll never start two fires and they'll move the same way.
But what you can do to get around that is you can have a basic stance, in quotation marks, which you'll always return back to. And then you can program from that stance
just different flickering
motions that will always return to that stance. And while it might not look as natural as real fire,
it's a lot closer.
It's a lot closer to what we often get in video games.
Especially when you take into account like wind dynamics.
Yep.
The worst thing you can do is in games have a wind going one way, and you know it's going one way, and you have a fire going against the wind. You're sitting there going...
That's an even more difficult thing to program in.
That's what I was saying there. Like, I had an idea of getting in tornadoes. You becoming like weather becoming a more dynamic and more intrinsic thing to a game, which is what I find really interesting.
But you know, physics engines are always evolving, and we will get there eventually.
Yeah.
And things like your fires in RDR2, as the physics engines get better, it won't get better in RDR2, but maybe RDR3, you know, it'll look more natural. That's if we ever get an RDR3.
Oh, I think we will.
Probably. I mean, RDR2 is sold really well so far. The only complaint I've heard from people is its install size, because it's like 100 gig.
Yeah, you take ages.
Next up is best score / music. So you've got Celeste,
Still no idea.
God of War, Marvel Spider-Man, Ni no Kuni 2, Revenant Kingdom.
Heard good things. Not heard
It's so good. I've not actually played it, but I've experienced it through Let's Plays, and I remember playing like a demo-y kind of version at Game once, like just near release, but I've not actually played the full game for myself. Octopath Traveler and Red Dead 2.
Yep.
And you know, I've just spoke about how much I love Octopath Traveler, and I did go into other things other than the art that I like about Octopath Traveler, and I did say the music, and you know, I don't really need to explain it after how much I said.
Yeah.
Octopath Traveler is my prediction for this one, and it's just because it is just such good music that's in the game, and it's not just, you know, the styles change slightly depending on where in the world you are and what character you're using, and the battles are like the boss themes. It's just so good. I love it.
Yeah, for me, I'd go with Spidey. I think the way it just ebbs and flows with you and it keeps you going. If it's a pure cam moment, it'll be like always. It's basically always appropriate things. It's rarely silent, and when it is, even then, that's the most appropriate thing.
Yeah.
It doesn't try and shoehorn in some random track. Doesn't try and put in shit it shouldn't be. It just all makes sense.
Yeah. I loved the music for Spider-Man. I liked the music that I remember hearing during the Let's Plays of Ni no Kuni 2, as well as God of War, and the music that I've heard so far from Red Dead through trailers and reviews and Let's Plays. They all have good music, but again, Octopath is my favourite. It's something like that. Next up is best audio design. So this is not, you know, music and stuff. This is the balancing levels of the audio. So is the music too loud compared to the background noise and the character speaking? Is one thing too loud, too quiet? Can you hear everything equally, but at the same time it's still balanced right so that nothing drowns anything else out, but the things that need the priority are still louder than the rest of the things. And me and Mark, I've appropriately picked the same thing here.
Yeah, I think it's because it was the most difficult thing we could see to balance.
Because you've got the sound of the wind,
sound of the swinging,
the sound of the web shooting itself, people talking,
and even then it's like the most interesting thing where you swing depending on the level you go down. If you go down too close to the street, you hear ambient noise from the street, but then it's like naturally it cuts off in the upswing.
Yeah,
getting too far away from the street to logically hear it.
Yeah,
but then sometimes you hear like the seagulls and shit as well.
Yeah,
so it's just
it's fantastic
and appropriately done to make it like,
yeah,
oh, I'm swinging. Ooh.
As well as, you know, like you said in the last one, having the music. The music was never too loud or too quiet. The sound of punching and kicking was just right. You know, it was the right level and it sounded good. And as the characters spoke, you had some characters shouting, some characters speaking softly and all that. And it sounded like they were actually shouting and actually speaking softly. You know, it didn't sound like they just said something normally and had the volume boosted a lot.
Yeah.
And when characters were shouting, it didn't sound like it was clipping.
Yeah.
Which is where it's so loud that it just distorts because of the microphone.
Uncool. Not cool.
It did sound natural, which was also really, really good. So yeah, I you know, being a sound engineer, this
shockingly you've got more interest in this bit.
I can go into this for quite a while. Yeah, but don't get me wrong, Forza they done a really good job with the engine noises and especially when it comes up to the red line for shifting and for things with hydraulic gearboxes. Like, you can tell it's often with the kind of Japanese tuner cars, you hear the tss as you shift gear.
All right.
Damn.
Damn.
They done a really good job with that. Black Ops, I've not played a lot of it, but my brother-in-law's been playing a fair amount of it, so I've been when I go up to theirs to visit or drop something off or pick something up, I've seen him playing it, and yeah, the ambient noises, the gunfire and all that, it's all really well balanced. Red Dead's been, like, I've seen again bits and pieces of that. From what I've seen, the audio's been really well balanced, as well as God of War. So it's not an easy one to pick, because it's such a high quality, but it's just because there was more elements in Spider-Man, it made it
More difficult and more
the
interesting.
obvious choice for this one. But realistically, any could win this because they are all of such high quality. But again, I'm just taking into account there is so many different elements to be mixed in.
And the fact he can move so fast, the environments, noises need to change appropriately.
Yeah,
I always noticed that whenever you go close to like the seafront of the docks, immediately it's like it all became more gulls and stuff in the water.
Yeah.
And the water sounds so good.
yeah. Then after that is the best performance, so of lead actors. We've got predictions for this one. So the nominations are Brian Deschar as Connor from Detroit Become Human, Christopher Judge as Kratos from God of War, Melissa Nathi Mahut, I think I'm pronouncing that right,
Yeah.
as Cassandra from Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
I find it interesting it's only her take on it, because I know there's two characters.
Yeah, there's the male and female,
Yeah.
Cassandra and Alexios.
So I find that very interesting. It's not one or other. It's only her. So clearly she's a standout if you're going to play it.
Most of the Let's Plays and reviews and things like that I've seen of it, most people are choosing to place Cassandra.
Interesting. to remember
Alexios
that.
does not seem to be as popular.
I wonder if it's like whole like Caden versus what's her name? Like Mass Effect 1. Caden versus
Ashley.
Ashley in that scenario.
It could well be.
Like one just comes off more unlikable but a better character.
Yeah. Roger Clark as Arthur Morgan from RDR2 and Yui Lowenthal as Peter Parker from Marvel's Spider-Man. I've picked Yuri Lowenthal because in the game he just kind of seems to encapsulate Peter Parker really well. The excitement and the laid backness and the like
Angst and the tension.
Yeah, he just seems to make the Peter Parker character his own, a lot like Tom Holland did for Peter Parker in the MCU. He's done it in the video game. I think Tom Holland's done a bloody good job.
I'd say he's done a good job, but me personally, I preferred the previous guy whose name I never forget, which is annoying. Not Tobey Maguire, or the middle one.
Garfield.
Andrew Garfield.
Yes.
For me personally, I think he epitomized the movie one. Because, see, right, this is what people keep getting wrong, right? People keep highlighting the fact that Pierre is meant to be the geeky type, right? But that was before he got his powers.
Yeah.
Because the reason he epitomized the geek type so much is because, don't get me wrong, he was geeky. He still is. But he never had the confidence. The confidence comes with being Spider-Man is what stops him from being the geeky sap, right?
Yeah.
And Garfield, some people said he was too cool. But if you think about it, right, that's going to happen when you get powers.
Yeah, and that's what Peter Parker was like in the comic books.
Yeah. So don't be right. Tobey Maguire, he was always geeky. Even in Spider-Man, he was geeky. Holland, I think it's because they're going for such a younger iteration of him.
Yeah.
He's fun, but he's very awkward.
Yeah.
Whereas for me, Garfield, he epitomized I'm the cool Spider-Man, almost a geeky and nerdy, but I'm cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
For me, like with Tom Holland, it's like I think he was confident as a Spider-Man. Like,
Yeah, as
Spider-Man
he's
was confident.
As Parker, he's neurotic and doesn't know what to say.
Yeah, but I think that's because we're now in the MCU where not everything is
As it was.
as was in the comics.
Yeah.
There is a wee bit of artistic license with the MCU.
Mm-hmm.
What they're doing is they're trying to like pre-Spider-Man Peter Parker, when he's still is going to be the same as post-Spider-Man Peter Parker as Peter Parker, but be confident and cool and all that as Spider-Man, and then still maybe not being the same naturally, but just trying to be the same way he was beforehand as Peter Parker. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, I think he's only been in 2 years in terms of the movies.
Yeah.
But again, I know when he first came in for Civil War, I think he was in his second year doing it, to a point where he's not even came across his own proper supervillain yet.
Yeah.
So his first one came in his own solo movie, and that was meant to be year 2 or 3 for him. And then by the time you get to Infinity War, that must be a good while later, because obviously he fucking jumped right into following Tony without even thinking, should I? He's also like I gotta go help. It's like, oh, fucking okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to the point. Don't get me wrong. I thought Yuri Lowenthal's interpretation was amazing. Some of the voice work was just beautiful, and it really makes you feel for him, because some of the shit that goes on is not good. Some of it, when it's just funny and awkward, is funny and awkward. It's not like you put your hands up. Me personally, I went for Roger Clark as Arthur Morgan, because I feel like he made a role. It could have been just a hammy cowboy role, his own. He properly encapsulated the idea of the gruff, struggling cowboy trying to do shit near the end of his tenure. I had to put it. For me, it was like, you know how in Lethal Weapon, when he keeps going, I'm too old for this shit. He encapsulated the idea of him, a cowboy at the end of his tail, just kind of going, okay, right, let's get this shit going. I'll do it, but fuck's sake.
Yeah, it's like me every day at work, just saying I'm too old for this shit.
Hence the grey hair.
I don't have grey hair yet.
I'm not even gonna lie. My girlfriend actually pulled out a white hair from my eyebrow last night. I didn't no, you're like, and I'm fine. And she goes, and it's fucking white, not grey, white. And I was like, just stared at it, and I'm like, I could have went my entire life without you doing that. And she looked at me and was like, sorry. And I'm like, oh my god, my mortality's gone.
I'm gonna have to high five her next time I see her.
Yeah, I hate. That's just horrible.
Anyway,
shut up.
While Mark has his existential crisis,
I'm getting old.
Games for Impact is the next category, and the nominations are 1111 Memories Retold, which looks actually really good. It's a game quite recently out about memories from the First World War.
Damn.
Because it was a Remembrance Day game, 11/11, 11th of November, Remembrance Day.
I dug just by the way, the last first performance of my last one, because all these ones either have no knowledge or I don't care. Games for Impact, independent games, and mobile, I don't know enough about them, so I'm not going to make a decision. When it gets to esports, I don't care at all.
I just put in ones that I know a little bit about. I'm not going to go through all of them. It was just in case I felt like I had to.
That's cool. But yeah, I'm just saying, this is that's my ending of knowledge over here. I'm just going to be like, huh, cool.
No, we're coming back to some for you.
Yeah, so yeah, 11/11, that seems pretty cool, because obviously some stuff does need to be remembered, even if it's some truly horrific things. Because
it's also something along the lines of what DICE are doing with Battlefield 5.
Yeah,
with War Stories. So yeah, 11/11 Memories Retold, Celeste, Florence, Life is Strange 2 Episode 1, and The Missing, JJ Macfield and the Island of Memories.
Oof, that's a hell of a title.
Next one is the best indie game, independent game, Celeste, Dead Cells, Into the Breach, The Return of Obra Dinn, and The Messenger.
Only heard of one.
Next up is best mobile game. Donut County.
Fuck sake.
Florence.
Okay.
Fortnite.
Rotten Hell.
PUBG Mobile.
Also Rotten Hell.
And Reign's Game of Thrones.
See, if it was anything like Game of Thrones, would be fine, but it's one of those, like, what do you call them?
Choices.
No, it's not even choices. It's like, if it's a game I'm thinking of, It's like fuck, what's that weird games you like? So you play as an
Visual novels.
No, it's like you play as an army. Like you play as an army and you have to like conquer that kind of shit.
RTS.
Yes, I hate that.
I've not been a fan of RTSs.
Do you know? I'm sure you liked one of them. Anyway,
I did like one of them.
Yeah,
it was called Dune. That is the only one I liked.
Oh yeah, but it's, I hate RTS.
Like, 'cause I wasn't a fan of Command and Conquer. I wasn't a fan of Warcraft. I wasn't a fan of Starcraft.
Don't like any of them. Ugh, not my kind.
But no, I put in my prediction for that Fortnite because
Fortnite.
Yeah.
Oh,
Best.
sorry, I've got two extra. Was it two more or is it more than that? Oh shit.
A lot more.
I was incorrect. I apologise.
Then it's best VR/AR game, so virtual reality, augmented reality game. Now, because the best one wasn't released this year, it's not officially an option, but I would say it's Pokemon Go.
Let's go.
No, Pokemon Go. Let's Go's for the Switch.
Oh, okay, right.
Although I was going to get that today because it was payday, and after I paid my digs, I didn't have enough money left to get it.
Smooth. Because
I ended up working like 16 hours last week, so I had like no money. It was great fun. But no, the games are Astrobot Rescue Mission, Beat Saber, Firewall Zero Hour.
No idea.
It looks good. It's out on PlayStation.
Okay.
It's actually, I think it's the game that's bundled with the VR aim controller, which is like a kind of rifle for VR shooter games.
Ooh, not bad.
The rifle for shooter games is so good. By the way, I used it. I tried it out with Arizona Sunshine. I'm no good with it, but it works pretty well. Moss and Tetris Effect.
Okay.
Yeah, I picked Tetris Effect because I like Tetris. Next up,
right. I actually have a good few here, so
Yeah.
It's after Lee's to stop having interest. Got you.
Next up is the best action game. So you've got Black Ops 4, Dead Cells, Destiny 2, the Forsaken expansion in particular, Far Cry 5, and Mega Man 11. Now I've picked Black Ops 4 because Black Ops 4. Everybody loves Black Ops 4 because.
Whereas I picked Far Cry 5 because it actually looks like it's a pretty cool action game. Plus, you can have more fun shooting white supremacists.
Yeah, I never thought about that. Next up is best action/adventure game. Your options here are Assassin's Creed Odyssey, God of War,
Spider-Man.
Marvel Spider-Man, Red Dead Redemption 2. So that's kind of your four big ones for this awards.
Yeah,
this
and then
year.
we're both kind of from shade, ironically.
And Shadow of the Tomb Raider.
Nah.
Don't get me wrong, Shadow of the Tomb Raider actually looks like a pretty decent game.
I'm just not into the Tomb Raider series.
But I've picked God of War because, like, while, yes, I've backed Marvel Spider-Man over God of War every time so far.
It's a very different kind of game. It doesn't feel action-adventure.
Marvel Spider-Man feels more like an RPG.
It makes you into the hero.
Yeah.
It's not like anything else.
Yeah, like, it feels more like a Final Fantasy 15-esque RPG, obviously set in, like, the Spider-Man universe, with Spider-Man's powers and all that, but it does feel more like that than it does an action-adventure game. So that's why I've picked God of War over it, and that's just my personal opinion on the game's genre, rather than which game is, better to win the award. But yeah, that's why I've picked it that way. It's also kind of a reason I didn't pick Assassin's Creed Odyssey, because when we were watching the E3 trailer, it did again look a lot like an action RPG. And while, yes, it is action-adventure, which a lot of people go, that's actually an action RPG. It's like, no, unless it says RPG, it's not an RPG.
Whereas for me, I actually went with Odyssey because I honestly think it looks pretty badass. In terms of adventure, I don't think you can really get much more adventure than going through ancient Greece and slaying some folk.
Yeah.
That's just me.
Next up is probably the one where me and Mark are probably going to be most comfortable talking about, because it is our base of video gaming, and that's the best RPG.
Unfortunately, the choices here, I wouldn't say arguably are the best choices of RPG.
For ones that came out this year, though?
I'll give you that, but still, it's not exactly the best choices, is it?
Yes.
I wouldn't say so.
I would say 3 out of 5 of them are definitely the best choices.
Okay, let's go.
Dragon Quest XI: Echoes of Elusive Age.
No.
Now, obviously, this is going to be using the Western release date because it was released last September. So it's September 2017 in Japan, but it got a worldwide release September this year. So I'm guessing because it's the worldwide release it's using is why it's on it. Monster Hunter World from Capcom. Ni no Kuni 2 Revenant Kingdom. Octopath Traveler, and Pillars of Eternity 2 Deadfire. Now, I know what everybody's thinking. I've backed Octopath Traveler every time it's come up so far. Yeah, I'm backing Ni no Kuni 2 this time. No, Ni no Kuni 2 is just such a... it's one of those things, like... It's just a really, really, really good RPG. And that's the basis of it. Like, I mean, I know I bigged up Octopath Traveler really, really hard, and like the last few times it's been a nomination, but I don't know. Ni no Kuni 2 just seems to have that edge for some reason. But no, I definitely think if it's not going to be Ni no Kuni 2 that wins it, it's going to be either Octopath Traveler or Dragon Quest XI. That's what I think.
Whereas for me, I've heard mixed reviews of all of them, but Ni no Kuni 2 I've heard of consistently good reviews. Yeah, it's basically it. I don't think Dragon Quest is that cool. There's just an art style. And Monster Hunter World, it doesn't grab me. That's why I'm like role playing. Nah. Octopath, Mythically, yeah, that's good. But I think I have heard better reviews of Ni no Kuni and Pillars of Eternity. I have played part of the first one. Honestly, didn't get into as much. So yeah, Ni no Kuni is the best of an iffy bunch for me.
I think definitely the Ni no Kuni and your two Square Enix games, they are definitely the one of the games that are going to win it. I'd like to see Octopath or Ni no Kuni 2 be the one that comes out on top there.
Preferably Ni no Kuni.
Because here's the thing though, like, of those two, Ni no Kuni is a PlayStation exclusive and Octopath is a Switch exclusive.
Oh, okay.
Whereas Dragon Quest, Monster Hunter and Pillars of Eternity are multi-platform. But yeah, I still see one of those two being the winner. Next up is the best fighting game. This is one of the few genres that me and Mark like to dip into when we're not playing RPGs.
Occasionally.
And we've come out in very different ends of the spectrum for this one, although we've both picked ones by the same publisher, it seems.
Oh yeah, apparently.
So your options are BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle,
Pass.
Dragon Ball Fighters, Soul Calibur 6, and Street Fighter 5 Arcade. Would you like to go first this time, Mark, since I seem to just be taking the first shot every time?
I'm going to go away. Ultimately, I think we chose the ones that had the best character creation from what I've seen.
Yeah, I think they're also, like, with the exception of Street Fighter, we've probably picked the longest lasting ones as well, because there's been Dragon Ball Fighter, like, they've not been called Dragon Ball Fighters, you know, but there's been Dragon Ball based fighting games for as long as I can remember, and like Soul Blade came out in, was it 1996 or something? It was like the first year of the PlayStation.
Something like that, yeah.
And Soul Blade is what is now Soul Calibur. It was called Soul Blade over here and Soul Edge in the States. Not States, in Japan.
So it's been around basically, yeah.
So yeah, this is like the 7th game of the series essentially.
So yeah, for me I chose Dragon Ball purely just because it's Dragon Ball. Not because I think it's that good a game, I'm not going to lie, I'm not as into it. But I can definitely see it winning.
And I picked Soul Calibur because it's actually my favourite fighting game of all time. I was never a fan of Street Fighter. I kind of enjoy Street Fighter on like arcade machines, but I was never a fan of it on consoles unless it was on the Sega, because the Sega had the 3-button layout.
Okay, right.
Whereas at the time the NES had the 2-button layout, so it was kind of hard on that. And then you had the 3-button layout on the Sega, which made it really, really easy. And then from now you've got the 4-button layout, and I just get so confused because, with Soul Calibur and Tekken, it's left kick, right kick, left punch, right punch. But on Street Fighter and Dead or Alive, but I still managed to do it a lot better on Dead or Alive than I do on Street Fighter. It's high, low, mid guard.
Alright.
You know, I still managed to do it better on, like, considering it's very similar layout of controls. I seem to do it better on DOA than I do on Street Fighter, but I don't like it. And also, Soul Calibur has weapons. Because, I mean, come on, who doesn't love playing as Mitsurugi and just slashing people up with a katana? Or, you know, stabbing people with the
Stabby thing.
As Voldo.
The stabby thing. As Voldo, yes.
Voldo is a stabby thing.
Especially with his crotch equipment, yeah.
Yes. So best family game. Now I'm going to put a caveat on this. Alright, so I think if the two that are not Nintendo exclusives win it, it's going to be because of the Nintendo version. Okay, especially the second non-Nintendo one. Right, so your options are Mario Tennis Aces, the Nintendo Labo, because it has a wee game which allows you to do various things like play the piano and control a mecha and stuff like that. Yeah. Overcooked 2, Starlink Battle for Atlas, and Super Mario Party. Now I've picked Overcooked 2 because Overcooked 2 is such a fun family game, and also like it. I mean, it's just fun. It's also good for things like team building and stuff at places where you would work, because you do have to be in sync as a team to really get through the levels and stuff. So I think it's just so much fun. It's so funny. You can set fire to the whole kitchen. You have to run around with a fire extinguisher and stuff like that. It's so much fun.
Yeah, for me, I chose Super Mario Party purely just because, as I say, variety is the spice of life, and you can do fucking tons in that game. Yeah, it's a really fun game as well. My sister has it, and we played it at hers, and it was so good. And she has Overcooked, and I have Overcooked. Although Starlink Battle for Atlas, if that wins, it's going to be because of the Star Fox stuff, which is exclusive to Nintendo. And Overcooked 2 just plays so much better on the Switch. Next up is the best strategy game. Now, some of these can feel a bit more like kind of RPGs, like kind of Final Fantasy Tactics. Some of them can feel like that, and some of them can be seen more kind of RTS, like Command and Conquer and stuff. So there is a lot of variety within the strategy genre here. So your options are BattleTech, Frostpunk, Into the Breach, Banner Saga 3, and Valkyria Chronicles 4. Okay.
I've gone with Valkyria Chronicles 4, which is your kind of strategy RPG. You move around the squares, and yeah.
For me, I only picked this game because I played the first one. Haven't played the second yet, but my brother has. He's played both, and he thought they're amazing. It's Banner Saga 3. Purely because when it comes to the ending of a series, or at least I'm under preparation this is what it is. It's always gonna do it in a grandiose way, and it just makes it worth it.
Yeah.
Admittedly, yeah, it does come off a little bit RPG-ish, but ultimately, you cannot play Banner Saga unless you can keep your wits about you, otherwise you're thought.
Yeah. I also really like the setting of Valkyria Chronicles 4. It's you've got tanks, you've got snipers. It's kind of set in a kind of World War II-ish kind of time.
But obviously it's a bit mixed.
Yeah, I mean, it's set in a fantasy world, but it's set in that kind of same time period within that fantasy world. And like one of your characters just drives the tank, one of your characters is a sniper, one of them's kind of close range infantry, and you've got to use them all together to the best of your ability, and just be wary of where enemies are coming from and all that. It's really strategic, and you, again, like you said about Banner Saga, you do have to keep your wits about you for this as well. Next up is best sports and racing game. So this is one where I'm more likely to dip into it than Mark is, mostly on the racing side of it. But what I think's the best racing sports game isn't in this, so I've had to pick whatever's there. So the options are FIFA 19, Forza Horizon 4, Mario Tennis Aces, NBA 2K19, and Pro Evolution Soccer 2019. I've picked FIFA 19 just simply because it's probably the most popular out of a lot of them. I would have picked F1 2018 if that was an option, because that's what I think is the best racing game out this year.
Whereas I went for Forza Horizon 4, purely just because if it is the one that's chosen, I can rub in Jack's face.
Next up,
You non-believer.
the Forza Horizon looks good, right? It's the one I want to win, but I'm predicting that FIFA's going to win it.
Gotta have faith.
That's the thing.
Gotta have faith.
I have faith that Forza will win it.
But you didn't choose it, so
No.
it doesn't matter.
Next up is the best multiplayer game.
Okay, now this is the final one that I've input on.
Yeah. And the options are Call of Duty Black Ops 4, Destiny 2 Forsaken, Fortnite, Monster Hunter World, and Sea of Thieves. Now I've gone with the obvious one, which is Fortnite, because Fortnite.
Whereas I've decided fuck Fortnite, and I went for COD.
Yeah, even though we don't really like either of them.
No, I just went with COD because fuck Fortnite.
Well, actually, I like Call of Duty, just not Call of Duty Black Ops 4. The next few are Best Student Game. So you've got Combat 2018 by the Inland Norway University of Applied Sciences.
Are we really going to go for this one?
Yeah, I'll just run through them as quickly as I can.
Okay.
At least mention them all. I'm not going to give opinions on them because I don't know enough about them. Dash Quasar by UC Santa Cruz, Jera by DigiPen Bilbao, Lift by iStart Digital, and Recharge by MIT. Best Debut Indie Game, Donut County, Florence, Moss, The Messenger, and Yoko's Island Express. No, not Yoko. Yoko's Island Express.
No idea.
Next up is the best esports game, which I can have a decision in because I know a little bit about esports. And the nominations are Counter-Strike Global Offensive, Dota 2, Fortnite, League of Legends, and Overwatch. So there's only really 4 esports in that list because Fortnite's not an esport. And I've said it's going to be League of Legends, and Mark agreed with me that it will be League of Legends.
Because League of Legends.
Like Rainbow Six Siege is a fucking esport, and that's not there. Fortnite's not an esport because of the amount of RNG, randomness.
Okay.
Because there's such an element of randomness to Fortnite, it can't officially be classed as a esport. That's why PUBG's not an esport. But you've got Street Fighter, you've got F1, you've got GT Sport, RFAC, like sim racing in general, like just about any simulation racing game. So non-arcade ones. So Ridge Racer, Need for Speed are out. You know, we're talking Gran Turismo, Formula 1, R Factor, Project Cars, Assetto Corsa. You know, your proper sim racing games. They're all esports. You know, FIFA's an esport. Smash Bros is an esport. Smash Bros is a more popular esport than fucking Fortnite. You've got your best esports player, so Sonic Fox, Tokido, Uzi, S1MP1E, Jonak. I'm not even going to use the proper names, just they're what they're known as.
Pretty much.
Best esport team, Astralis, Cloud9, Fnatic, London Spitfire, and OG. Best esports coach, Reaperd, Passerelle, Zonic, Dylan Falco, Yamato Cannon, and YNK. Best esports event, the E-League Major Boston 2018, EVO 2018, League of Legends World Championships, Overwatch League Grand Finals, and the International 2018. I would say it's probably League of Legends World Championships because it's the one that gets the most views on YouTube and Twitch.
Okay.
Best esports host, Golden Boy, Machine, Sojigs, and Red Eye. No idea.
Nope.
I watch esports, but I usually have it muted, or I watch a stream of just the games where there's no announcers or anything.
Alright.
Because the announcers are they're a pain in the ass. Best esports moments, C9's comeback win in triple overtime versus FaZe, KT versus IG in a base race, G2 beating RNG, OG's massive upset of LGD, and Sonic Fox side switch against Go1. There we go. And the last one is Content Creator of the Year.
Oh my god.
The nominations are Dr. Lupo, Myth, Ninja, Pokemani, and Willy Rex. And me and Mark have both predicted that Gaming Kin are going to win this one.
We haven't. Massive upset. Like,
massive
out of
upset.
nowhere.
The smallest channel involved with this, and we're going to win it.
Man. It's going to be us.
Just because we're just us, you know.
Just getting it shipped out soon, man. We'll get it eventually. That's cool.
Anyway, that has been Gaming Kin. As always, I've been Jack. With me has been Mark.
And I would just like to say, as a final thing, I think I may as well say it now if I'm ever going to say it. If it's possible for Stanley somewhere, wherever he may be, to hear this, thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Stanley. So yes, there's always room for you here at Gaming Kin if you want to be our friend. Stay safe out there.
Excelsior.
Talk in the friend zone. I'm going home alone. You went home with another guy. Why do I even try? I think I'm out of luck. I'm just gonna give up. Take my ball and go home. 'Cause I wanna be alone. I'm leaving. And I'm never coming back. I'm leaving. 'Cause this is not my place. I'm taking. I'm only going home, I'm leaving. 'Cause I wanna be alive, feel invisible. When I say something to you, but you live straight through me. But there's a light at the end of the tunnel, but not for me. Take my ball and go home. 'Cause I wanna be alone, I'm leaving. And I'm never coming back, I'm leaving. 'Cause this is not my place, I'm taking. I'm only going home, I'm leaving. 'Cause I wanna be alone. I'm leaving. And I'm never coming back, I'm leaving. 'Cause this is not my place, I'm taking. I'm only going home, I'm leaving. 'Cause I wanna be alone. 'Cause this is not my place. 'Cause this is not my place.
Nothing happening. Some shape is rising out of the pit. I can make out a small beam of light against a mirror. What's that? There's a jet of flame springing from the mirror and it leaps right at the advancing men. It strikes them head on. Logs are turning into flames. The whole field's caught up by the woods, the barns, the gas tanks for the automobiles spreading everywhere. It's coming this way now, about 20 yards from